Chapter 834. A horse-drawn carriage slowly drove past them on a small, secluded road. There was no one outside the carriage, but the horses continued to follow the route accurately. It was a strange sight. Lu Yuan and the rest were seated inside the carriage. After obtaining the Godslayer domain, their trip was complete. After Bibidan absorbed the 100,000-year blood-winged golden mosquito emperor's soul ring, Lu Yuan and the rest naturally left immediately. Obuchi, this is for you. Bibidan lifted her hand slightly, and a blood-red left arm bone appeared in her hand. There was a faint surge of energy on it. Another left arm bone? Lu Yuan had a strange look in his eyes as he looked at this left arm bone. 100,000-year soul beast had a special characteristic, and that was that the soul bones it produced were definitely the soul bones that the person who killed it lacked. However, Bibidan had 6 soul bones now. Hence, the soul bones that the blood-winged golden mosquito emperor produced were naturally random. However, she didn't expect it to be so coincidental. It was another left arm bone. Currently, he and Hulina already had left arm bones. Chihiro Snow also had the angel set, but Zhu Zhuqing didn't have a left arm bone yet. You can give this soul bone to Zhu Zhuqing. Bibidan laughed softly. Lu Yuan received the soul bone and kept it in his astral ring. He looked at Bibidan and said gently, "You know what I'm thinking. It's written all over your face. Furthermore, you and Zhu Zhuqing already have left arm bones. This soul bone can only be given to Zhu Zhuqing. Are you willing to give it to anyone else?" Bibidan asked with a smile. "I'm not willing to." Lu Yuan nodded honestly. He was willing to give such a precious treasure to his own people, but he couldn't bear to give it to anyone else. "How is Zhuqing now?" Lu Yuan asked as he looked at Bibidan. "She's doing very well. In a year and a half, she's already level 59. That's 6 levels. Her leveling speed is quite fast. I can see that Nana is only level 66, and you're only level 69. Both of you have only leveled up by 3 levels. The two of you can't compare to her." Bibidan said. "How can that be the same? In Slaughter City, Nana has to participate in the Infernal Slaughterhouse competition every few days. The pressure is huge, so how can she have so much energy to cultivate? As for me, I'm suppressing my own cultivation to further strengthen my foundation. Otherwise, I would have already reached level 70. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes and said indifferently. "However, Zhuqing, this lass, has risen 6 levels in a year and a half. She has really impressed me. This lass seems to be quite hard-working." After a pause, Lu Yuan changed the topic and said in a serious tone. "She's only 16 years old. It's already not easy for her to reach level 59 at 16 years old," Bibidan said. "Indeed, Zhuqing is now talented and hard-working enough. It's not surprising that she can reach such a height. This time, if this soul bone is given to her, she might be able to break through to level 60. Lu Yuan said. Hearing Lu Yuan and Bibidan's conversation, Hulina said with a frown, "Sigh, after hearing you guys say that, I feel so much pressure. I'm 5 years older than Zhuqing, but she's almost catching up. Come on you. Why don't you say that you have one more talent domain than Zhuqing? This thing can't be made up for by soul power. Zhuqing is very talented now, but compared to you, there's still a gap. You're not bad either. You're 21 years old and you're already level 66. Isn't that enough? What else do you want? Furthermore, Zhuqing doesn't have an external soul bone. This thing is much more precious than a 100,000-year soul bone." Glaring at Hulina, Lu Yuan said in annoyance. Hearing that, Hulina laughed. "You only know how to laugh foolishly. I know where there's another crystal blood dragon ginseng. When I have the chance, I'll get it for you. If it works well with the yearning heartbroken red, it will allow your physique to undergo a great transformation. Your future path to godhood will be smooth. When that time comes, a level 1 deity position will be at your fingertip." Lu Yuan first glanced at Hulina, then said indifferently, "Really?" Hearing that, Hulina couldn't help but open her eyes wide. Her face was full of surprise. "Greetings, Your Holiness the Pope, Your Highness the Holy Sun." Outside the Pope's palace, seeing Lu Yuan and Bibidon, many of the paladins knelt down and saluted. "All rise." Bibidon's cold but majestic voice sounded. "Thank you, Your Holiness the Pope." The paladins stood up one after another. "Obuchi, do you want to return to the Pope's palace with me now, or return to the Lake Heart Island first?" Looking at Lu Yuan, Bibidon asked softly. "I'll bring Nana back to the Lake Heart Island first. Remember to come back early." Lu Yuan said. Then you guys go," Bibidon said softly. Hearing that, Lu Yuan nodded. Holding Hulina's hand, he walked directly in the direction of the Lake Heart Island. The sky gradually darkened. In the main hall of the Lake Heart Island, Lu Yuan and the others were having dinner. Bibidon sat at the head of the table, Lu Yuan sat on the right, Zhu Zhuqing was beside him, and Hulina just happened to sit opposite him. "Now that we're back, we can prepare for the canonization of the Holy Maiden and the bestowment of marriage." Bibidon put down his chopsticks, looked at Lu Yuan, and said softly, "I know, pick a good day." Lu Yuan looked at Hulina's happy face and said softly, 3 days later is a good day. How about 3 days later?" Bibidon said. 3 days later?" Hearing that, Lu Yuan frowned and was silent for a moment. "Why can't I, Obuchi?" Looking at Lu Yuan's frown, Hulina's face changed slightly. She said softly, her voice trembling. "It's fine, but isn't it a little rushed? Cher might not be able to make it back in time. I want to wait for her." Lu Yuan said softly. Then 10 days later. "Nana, I'll have to trouble you to wait a few more days." Bibidon said. "It's fine, I'll just wait a few more days." Hearing the conversation between the two, Hulina's face was once again full of smiles. She didn't care about waiting a few more days, as long as Lu Yuan didn't want her. Just now, when Lu Yuan frowned, she thought that Lu Yuan didn't want to get engaged with her. She was startled, but it turned out that she was too concerned and misunderstood. 10 days later is fine. Wait for me to write a letter for Cher to come back tomorrow. Moreover, I still have to go to the Angel Temple. Cher's marriage still needs to be arranged by Old Man Qian. It's not convenient for you to interfere." Looking at Bibidon, Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing that, Bibidon's delicate body trembled, the chopsticks in her hand paused, and said, "It should indeed be done by Sindoryu. It's not convenient for me to interfere now. Moreover, I might not have the qualifications to interfere." "You believe me?" Lu Yuan's eyes carried a trace of pleasant surprise. "I believe that what you said is true, and I also hope that it is true," Bibidon said softly. Chapter 835. I will prove to you that what I said is true. Staring into Bibidon's eyes, Lu Yuan said word by word. "I've been waiting, but don't make me wait too long. I'm not young anymore." Bibidon sighed softly. "Who said that?" "Teacher, you look just like a 17 or 18-year-old girl. You're very young." Hulina suddenly smiled and said in a sweet voice, "Sweet talker." Bibidon's beautiful eyes glanced at Hulina, but a trace of a smile flashed in her eyes. There was no woman who didn't like to be called young. "What I said is true. If you don't believe me, you can ask Obuchi." "Obuchi, right?" Hulina looked at Lu Yuan. "Of course. In my heart, you'll always be young and beautiful. You'll always be 18 years old." Lu Yuan looked at Bibidon and said gently. Hearing this, Bibidon's beautiful face blushed slightly, but her heart was very sweet. Lu Yuan's words were very useful to her. After eating, Hulina directly returned to her room. It was rare that she didn't pester Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan took Zhu Zhuqing's hand and entered her room. This girl has a quiet personality. After not seeing each other for more than a year, she actually missed him very much. However, in front of Bibidon and the others, she couldn't be too open. It wasn't until the two of them were alone that her fiery feelings gradually emerged. A man and a woman alone together, naturally they were infatuated. The two of them were very affectionate and success came naturally. Zhu Qing, after not seeing each other for more than a year, you gave me another surprise. You've grown a lot. Lu Yuan said with a light smile as he hugged Zhu Zhuqing's delicate body. Pervert, that's all you know. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Lu Yuan, then found a comfortable place in Lu Yuan's embrace, and gently moved her body. Feeling the warmth of Lu Yuan's embrace, Zhu Zhuqing felt at ease. She had not seen this man for a long time, and she really missed him. Now that he saw her, the love in his heart was completely released. At this moment, she just wanted to lie quietly in Lu Yuan's arms and enjoy the comfort and peace of mind. So what if I'm a pervert? I just want your body. Who asked you to be so beautiful? Lu Yuan didn't care about Zhu Zhuqing's evaluation of him as a pervert. Instead, he smiled and pinched Zhu Zhuqing's nose. Zhu Zhuqing slapped Lu Yuan's hand away. She moved her body slightly and leaned her head on Lu Yuan's shoulder. She looked straight at Lu Yuan's face with her bright eyes. She hadn't seen his face for more than a year, but it had become more handsome. How have you been in the city of slaughter for the past year? According to His Holiness the Pope, that place is very dangerous. Zhu Zhuqing asked gently. It's been pretty good. Don't you know my strength? In the current continent I can almost do whatever I want. As long as I don't reach my limit, no one can threaten me. Although the city of slaughter is dangerous, it's nothing to me. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. That's good. In the past year I've been very worried about you. Zhu Zhuqing began to pour out her heart. I've made you worry. It's my fault. But you can follow me again in the future. Lu Yuan said. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded. Her cold little face thawed a little. There was a trace of a smile in her eyes. She could follow this man again? That's great. Zhuqing, I heard that you've reached level 59? Lu Yuan asked as he pinched Zhu Zhuqing's cheeks. Yes, I'm already level 59. What about you? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Me? I'm only level 69. Lu Yuan smiled. Level 69? Only? Zhu Zhuqing's mouth twitched. Is this something a human would say? Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's expression, Lu Yuan chuckled and said, Zhuqing, I've come back this time because I have another soul bone for you. Perhaps it can help you break through the bottleneck of level 59. What soul bone? Zhu Zhuqing asked. It's just a 100,000-year left arm bone. It's just right for you. Lu Yuan smiled and said, 100,000-year left arm bone? Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's heart trembled. Is Obuchi going to give me another 100,000-year soul bone? Happy? But I'll give it to you tomorrow. As for now, the night of spring is too short. We can't waste time. Lu Yuan smiled and said. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing looked at him in amusement. However, she didn't reject him. Lu Yuan and Hulina had been together for more than a year, but she had been alone for more than a year. In fact, she had been longing for it for a long time. I'm coming. Lu Yuan lifted Zhu Zhuqing's chin and gently moved forward. In the blink of an eye, it was already the next day. The sun gradually rose. After breakfast, Lu Yuan wrote a letter to Chihiro Snow and gave the 100,000-year blood-winged golden mosquito left arm bone to Zhu Zhuqing. Then, he walked in the direction of the angel temple. Since he was back, it was time to meet Sendoryu. His marriage with Chihiro Snow still needed him to preside over it. In the angel temple, Sendoryu stood upright with the golden crocodile beside him. Golden light flashed, and Lu Yuan's figure appeared in the angel temple. You're here. With his back facing Lu Yuan, Sendoryu's indifferent voice rang out. Grandpa, Grandpa Golden Crocodile. Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and greeted the two in unison. Obuchi, you've grown up a lot. You're really becoming more and more mature. Looking at the handsome Lu Yuan, The golden crocodile's eyes flashed with a touch of gratification. He regarded Lu Yuan as his successor. He had no descendants in his life, and had long regarded Lu Yuan as his own grandson. Grandpa Golden Crocodile is also old but vigorous. Your spirit is also very good. Looking at the golden crocodile, Lu Yuan said with a smile. The golden crocodile was one of the few people he truly recognized in the martial soul palace. He had always regarded the golden crocodile as his true elder. Grandpa Golden Crocodile is old. In addition to carrying forward the martial soul palace, Grandpa Golden Crocodile's greatest wish is to see you and Cher get married and have children. I don't know if my old bones will have the chance to see that day. The golden crocodile sighed softly and said, What second brother said is also what I want to say. Brat, how long are you going to delay Cher's soul matter? In the past you said that you were still young. Now that you're 16, you're not young anymore. This matter should be on the agenda. Sendoryu turned around and looked at Lu Yuan with a gaze full of pressure. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Under Sendoryu's pressure, he didn't react at all. He was now very strong, and this little bit of pressure was really not enough. Grandpa, this is why I came this time. I want you to host the engagement ceremony for me and Cher. After the martial soul palace unifies the mainland, I'll immediately marry Cher and give birth to a few fat boys for you to hug. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Chapter 836. Brat, is what you said true? As soon as Lu Yuan said this, Sendoryu and Golden Crocodile's eyes lit up at the same time. They stared at Lu Yuan closely and asked, Of course it's true. How can it be false? Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Well, after waiting for so many years, I've finally waited for you to say this. I'll immediately send a letter to ask Xiao Shui to come back. The engagement ceremony can't be delayed. Sendoryu sighed slightly. Then, as if he had thought of something, he quickly said, Grandpa, you don't have to write anymore. I've already written to Cher. I think Cher will receive the letter soon and rush back. Lu Yuan said with a smile. You're quite thoughtful. Sendoryu said. We have to be serious about marriage, right? Lu Yuan said. That's true. Sendoryu had a smile on his face. Lu Yuan's words made him very happy. This old man, besides the martial soul palace, cared most about the inheritance of the bloodline. Now that Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow were engaged, the inheritance of the angel bloodline could be continued. Has the engagement date been set? Sendoryu asked. 9 days later. Teacher said that 9 days later is a good day. On that day, she will bestow the marriage between me and senior sister. I hope that Cher and I can be married on the same day. So, Grandpa and Grandpa Golden Crocodile, please bring all the consecrators of the Pope's palace to the Pope's palace to witness my engagement ceremony with Shui. Lu Yuan said warmly. Of course. My granddaughter's engagement ceremony naturally has to be grand. It's a pity that your identities can't be exposed now. Otherwise, this old man would have to invite the leaders of all the forces on the continent to attend the ceremony. But now we can't invite other forces, but the consecrators of the martial soul palace will all be present to witness this happy event. Sendoryu said seriously. This day will come sooner or later. When the martial soul palace sweeps the continent, I will marry Cher. I will invite all the famous people on the continent. I won't treat Cher badly. I will give her the grandest wedding in the world. Lu Yuan said in a serious voice. Good, this old man likes to hear that. At least you have some conscience. Cher's infatuation with you is not in vain. Hearing this, Sendoryu couldn't help but smile. His eyes narrowed. Obviously, he enjoyed Lu Yuan's words. By the way, when are you and Cher going to have a child? It's been so long, but there's still no news from Cher. You have to work hard. You can't wait until the continent is unified. That's too long. You can have a child now. Sendoryu urged. Soon. I will work hard. Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. Then, he casually replied. He already said that after the continent is unified, he will marry Chihiro Snow and then consider having a child. Is this old man so impatient? Don't take it lightly. This old man knows what you youngsters are thinking. You all want to play for a few more years before having a child. But for a force, having a child will make it more stable. The inheritance of the bloodline is the most important thing. Your golden dragon martial spirit and Cher's eight-winged angel martial spirit are both rare martial spirits in the world. Such martial spirits can't be lost. You and Cher have to work harder. It's best if you have a few more children. The inheritance of my angel clan depends on Cher. Hearing Lu Yuan's perfunctory words, Sendoryu said seriously. Yes, Obuchi, the great consecrator, is right. You and Cher have a few more fat children. When the time comes, even if you don't have the energy to take care of them, this old man can help you take care of the children. You and Cher can play as much as you want. It won't delay. The golden crocodile echoed. Lu Yuan. Good fellow, in order to hasten the birth of a child, he even said such words. Did you hear that, Obuchi? The golden crocodile saw that Lu Yuan was silent and asked softly. I heard that. I will work harder. Lu Yuan was sweating in his heart and said in a deep voice. Forget it, forget it. Now that my bloodline is on the verge of a breakthrough, especially with the unusually violent fluctuations these days, I'm afraid that within half a month, I will welcome the opportunity to break through. At that time, I will consume the true dragon's heart blood and complete the transformation in one fell swoop. As for the matter of children, let nature take its course. It's not that easy for a pure-blooded dragon clan to pass on the bloodline. The two old men are pushing me so hard. Sigh. Lu Yuan sighed in his heart. It's good that you heard that. I don't want to rush you, but I'm already old and don't have many years left in this life. I only hope to see you and Cher's child being born before I pass away. That way, I will have no regrets. Obuchi, you are the successor of the Divine King and know a lot. You should know what I mean. Looking at Lu Yuan, Sendoryu sighed faintly and said, Yes, grandfather, I know. Hearing Sendoryu's words, Lu Yuan's body trembled slightly. How could he not know what Sendoryu meant? As a divine envoy, the day Chihiro Snow became a divine envoy was the day he died. Humans were not plants and could not be emotionless. In the past, if he saw Sendoryu die, he would not be moved, but now that they had been together for a long time, he felt a little reluctant in his heart. Perhaps when the time comes, I can preserve grandfather's soul and resurrect him on the day I become a divine envoy. This should not be difficult. Otherwise, if Cher knew that her grandfather died because of her becoming a divine envoy, she would probably be heartbroken. Lu Yuan thought to himself. After thinking for a while, Lu Yuan came back to his senses and bowed to Sendoryu, saying, Grandfather, Grandpa Golden Crocodile, everything is done. If there's nothing else, I will take my leave. Go, Sendoryu said. Hearing this, Lu Yuan nodded, then slowly left the angel temple. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 9 days had passed. On the 5th day, Chihiro Snow had already rushed back. Chihiro Snow might not care about other things, but the engagement with Lu Yuan was something she had been looking forward to for a long time. After receiving Lu Yuan's letter, she settled the affairs of Heaven's Door on the spot, then quickly rushed back. After more than a year, seeing Lu Yuan again, she missed him very much. The two of them were together for a few days and finally came to the main topic. The sun rose from the east, and the bright light illuminated the earth. Under the sunlight, the magnificent Pope's palace emitted a golden light, looking particularly sacred. Today, the Pope's palace was very lively. It was rare for the Pope's palace to be full of people, and each of them was a very important person. Any one of them could stir up a storm on the continent. Chapter 8:37. Bibidon sat high up on the Pope's throne. She was wearing the Pope's robes today, with a purplish gold crown on her head and a golden scepter in her hand. She looked elegant and dignified. To her left was the head consecrator of the consecration hall, Sendoriu. Sendoriu almost never came to the Pope's palace. After so many years, this was the first time he had stepped into the Pope's palace. Naturally, he was here for Chihiro Snow. Although Sendoriu's status in the Martial Soul Palace wasn't much lower than Bibidon's, the Pope was still the face of the Martial Soul Palace. He was also the supreme ruler in name. According to convention, even the head consecrator should be under the Pope's jurisdiction. It was just that Sendoriu was too powerful, and Bibidon couldn't do anything to him. However, in the Pope's palace today, in front of so many titled soul masters in the Martial Soul Palace, he still had to give Bibidon some face. Standing to Bibidon's right was Lu Yuan. In today's situation, only Lu Yuan was qualified to stand opposite Sendoriu. In the hearts of many of the higher-ups in the Martial Soul Palace, Lu Yuan was already destined to be the next pope. Other than that, Lu Yuan was also the Hallmaster of the Dragon King Palace. Just the Hallmaster of the Dragon King Palace alone was enough to be mentioned in the same breath as the Pope of the Martial Soul Palace. He was definitely qualified to stand opposite Sendoriu. As for the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo, they were both standing below today. The elders and consecrators were mainly divided into three groups. The ones standing on the left were naturally the elders from the Pontiff Palace. They were led by the Chrysanthemum Douluo and the Ghost Douluo, and there were over a dozen of them. All of the titled Douluos that the Pontiff Palace had been secretly nurturing had arrived today. Standing on the right were the consecrated hall's consecrated elders. There were only 6 or 7 of them, but each and every one of them was very powerful. They were all rank 95 Transcendent Douluo. The remaining group consisted of Lu Yuan's Dragon King Hall. Besides Dugu Bo and Ziji, who were in charge of protecting Wang Qiu, Long Xiaoyao, Ma Xiaotao, Jing Hongchen, Yan Xiaozhe, and Xian Zi, who was far away in the Star Luo Empire, had all rushed over. Lu Yuan had said that many titled battle pet warriors would be there as witnesses. All the titled battle pet warriors were there. The 5 of them were led by Long Xiaoyao, and they stood in the middle. Even though they had the fewest people, they were all very strong. The only rank 94 soul engineer was Jing Hongchen, and he was a class 9 soul engineer. He had no problem taking on a transcendent Douluo. Furthermore, Long Xiaoyao was an ultimate Douluo who was even more powerful than Sendoriu. This lineup was actually quite intimidating. As for Qian Renxue and Hu Laina, they stood in front of the 3 lines. The 2 of them were today's main characters. Today, I have invited all of you here mainly because I want all of you to witness 2 things. Bibidon held the golden scepter in her hand as she scanned everyone below her. Her lips parted slightly, and her voice was heard. It was pleasant to the ears, but it was very dignified. Lu Yuan stood quietly to one side and looked straight ahead. He couldn't help but glance at Bibidon from the corner of his eye. Bibidon was very elegant, and her empress aura was very charming. If not for the fact that this wasn't the right time, he would have hugged Bibidon and showered her with love and affection. The first thing is about the Holy Lady. The leader of the Golden Generation, Hulina, is very talented. She's already a rank 66 Soul Emperor at such a young age. She possesses several soul bones, and she's even obtained the Killing God domain after her training in the City of Massacres. I'm prepared to make her the Holy Lady. Do the elders have any objections? Bibidon asked plainly. Elders and consecrators, please think carefully before you speak. As soon as Bibidong's voice fell, Lu Yuan's voice rang out. His eyes flashed, and an invisible aura was unleashed. His aura was so cold that the elders and consecrated present couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. The Chrysanthemum Douluo's expression changed slightly when he sensed Lu Yuan's aura, and he muttered softly, "Your Highness's aura is very strong. I'm afraid it's already above mine." Obuchi's abilities are increasing very quickly. This aura is extraordinary. If he's allowed to grow for a little longer, I'm afraid even I won't be able to do anything to him. The Martial Soul Palace finally has a successor. The golden crocodile squinted his eyes when he sensed Lu Yuan's aura. He revealed a gratified look on his face. The stronger Lu Yuan was, the brighter the future of the Martial Soul Palace would be. Naturally, he was very happy. The rest of the elders and consecrated's expressions changed slightly. This holy son is so monstrous that it's beyond imagination. He possesses such a frightening aura at such a young age. When they turned back to take a look, Long Xiaoyao and the rest were staring at them without blinking. Their auras were rising, and they couldn't help but twitch their mouths. Who would dare to object to such an aura? Even the two elders who had some objections didn't dare to raise any further objections. Since everyone isn't saying anything, I'm sure there are no objections. All right, I hereby announce that Hulina is the Holy Lady of the Martial Soul Palace from today onwards. Bibidon made the final decision as he looked at the situation below. Everyone, greet me. Lu Yuan placed his hands behind his back and said plainly, Greetings, mistress. Congratulations on becoming the Holy Lady. Greetings, Your Highness. After Lu Yuan finished speaking, Long Xiaoyao and the golden crocodile took the lead and bowed. The chrysanthemum Douluo and the rest hurriedly followed suit. When he saw this scene, Bibidon couldn't help but glance at Lu Yuan. This little rascal's authority in the Martial Soul Palace is almost on par with mine. At the very least, none of the elders and consecrated will dare to disobey him. Bibidon sighed in his heart. When he sensed Bibidon's gaze, Lu Yuan couldn't help but turn around slightly. Their gazes met. When he saw Bibidon's jade-like face, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and gave him a strange look. Bibidon rolled his eyes at him before retracting his gaze. He regained his dignified demeanor as a pope. The first matter is over. Let's talk about the second matter. As Bibidon spoke, he shifted his gaze sideways. His eyes flickered with radiance. I'm prepared to betroth the Holy Lady Hulina to the Holy Son Lu Yuan. Their engagement ceremony will be held later. Bibidon said softly. Your Holiness is wise. I wish the Holy Son and the Holy Lady a blissful life together. After Bibidon spoke, the chrysanthemum Douluo was the first to give his blessings. As one of Bibidon's most capable subordinates, he knew how Bibidon felt. Furthermore, he was the first to give his blessings. He was sure that he would be able to please both the Pope and the Holy Son at the same time. Indeed, after he finished speaking, he lifted his head slightly. When he saw the praise in Lu Yuan's eyes, he couldn't help but feel delighted. Your Holiness is wise. I wish the Holy Son and the Holy Lady a blissful life together. The chrysanthemum Douluo was smart, but the other elders weren't stupid either. Following him, they also gave their blessings. Chapter 838. Seeing this scene, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile slightly, and his gaze drifted to Hulina below. At this moment, Hulina was looking at him with infatuation, her face full of smiles. This was a kind of joy that surged from the bottom of her heart. Silly girl, Lu Yuan said softly, looking at Hulina with eyes full of gentleness. This infatuated person had a unique place in his heart. From the moment she took off the yearning heartbroken red, she had been forever engraved in Lu Yuan's heart. This infatuated and occasionally silly girl, she was not as smart as Chihiro Snow, nor as perfect as Gu Yuna, nor as graceful as Bibidon, but her feelings were the purest and most sincere. She had long been an inseparable part of his life. Lu Yuan gently stared at Hulina a few times, and then his gaze drifted to Hulina, who was standing beside Chihiro Snow. Since Hulina was finished, then the only one left was Chihiro Snow. Chihiro Snow was his first woman, and her position in his heart was the most special. People had feelings, and people were not machines. For his 6 women, Lu Yuan naturally loved each of them, and he couldn't part with any of them. He had always pursued fair treatment and tried his best to be impartial. But in fact, there would always be someone who had a higher position in his heart. After all, each person's 5 fingers had different lengths, and this was actually human nature. In general, in his heart, Chihiro Snow and Bibidon had a higher position. One was his first love, the first person he fell in love with when his feelings were budding. It could be said that it was unforgettable. The other was the obsession that had been suppressed for a long time. Once this obsession broke out, it could no longer be resisted. Once he confirmed his feelings for Bibidon also quickly rose. Therefore, he was actually looking forward to his engagement with Chihiro Snow today. She was only 10 years old when she and Chihiro Snow started their relationship. Now, he was already 16 years old. It had been 6 years, and he could finally give her a status. Noticing Lu Yuan's gaze, Chihiro Snow's watery golden eyes glanced over. When she met Lu Yuan's gaze, she couldn't help but smile. She had been waiting for this day for a long time. The two of them looked at each other sweetly. Sendoryu, who was standing on the other side, spoke. "Since your holiness is done, I have something else to announce. The first thing is to officially confer my granddaughter Chihiro Snow the title of Saintess. Secondly, I will betroth Saintess Chihiro Snow to Holy Son Lu Yuan. Everyone, pay your respects." Sendoryu's faint voice sounded. Unlike Bibidon, he directly announced Chihiro Snow as the Saintess. He was straightforward and didn't ask for anyone's opinion at all. As the great consecrator of the consecration hall, his reputation was also very high among the higher-ups of the martial Soul Palace. Moreover, Chihiro Snow's identity was special. She was the daughter of the previous pope. Therefore, no one dared to object to his words. "Congratulations to Miss for being conferred the title of Saintess. Congratulations to your holiness and his holiness for 100 years. As soon as Sendoryu finished speaking, Golden Crocodile was the first to respond. As Sendoryu's #1 follower and the first supporter of Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow's marriage, he was the first to speak up. With Golden Crocodile taking the lead, the great consecrators of the consecration hall gave their blessings one after another. Then, the entire hall's titled warriors congratulated Chihiro Snow and Lu Yuan together. Today's meeting will end here. The engagement ceremony will be held later. Everyone, come and watch the ceremony," Bibidon said calmly. Night finally fell. On the island in the middle of the lake, Lu Yuan's figure appeared. The engagement ceremony was indeed very complicated and had to be held grandly. Therefore, he had to go through all the necessary procedures. It was much more complicated than the one with Zhu Zhuqing. After a day, Lu Yuan really had a headache. Fortunately, everything was finally done. "Sigh, why do we have to have 2 rooms? It's so uncomfortable." Looking at the 2 rooms in front of him, Lu Yuan couldn't help but grumble in a low voice. There was one thing that was not good about getting engaged at the same time. It was inconvenient for 2 people to be in 2 different rooms. "Who should I go to first?" Lu Yuan touched his chin and murmured. "Let's go to Cher's room first." Lu Yuan hesitated for a while and made up his mind. He had been with Hulina for more than a year. He should go and spend some time with Chihiro Snow first. With that thought in mind, he walked to the room on the right. Creak! Lu Yuan pushed the door open. The room was brightly lit and there was a light fragrance in the air. The room was specially decorated for that day. Lu Yuan walked in and glanced around. Then, he paused abruptly. "Nana, why are you here?" Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask in surprise when he saw the 2 beautiful figures sitting at the head of the bed. "Isn't this what you want to do the most? Besides, it's inconvenient for you to run around, so I had to do it myself," Hulina said in a sweet voice. "Sensible, I like it," Lu Yuan exclaimed. He then closed the door and walked straight up to her. Sitting down between the 2 women, Lu Yuan hugged both of them in his arms. "My Cher is more open-minded now." Lu Yuan lowered his head slightly and whispered in Chihiro Snow's ear. Chihiro Snow was willing to let Hulina come together. It can be seen that she has changed a lot. In the past, Lu Yuan had to put in a lot of effort to get them together. Qian Rinxue glared at him angrily. If it was not for the fact that it was their engagement day, she would not have agreed to Hulina's suggestion to prevent him from running between both ends. This smelly bastard was happy, but she was very shy. Being glared at by Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan was not angry. She kissed the two women's faces and said, "Cher, Nana, we are finally together. In the future, you are my fiancés. Are you very happy?" "Very happy. I have been waiting for this day for a long time." Hulina was honest. She gently leaned on Lu Yuan's shoulder and said all the words in her heart. "Cher, what about you?" Lu Yuan asked. I want to hear the truth, don't be arrogant." Chihiro Snow just opened his mouth and was interrupted by Lu Yuan. "Happy, of course I am happy. I have been waiting for this day for a long time, but if you dare to let me down in the future, I will not forgive you." Looking at the smile on the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth, Chihiro Snow glared at him and said with a serious face, "I will never let you down. I promise with my life." Lu Yuan said in a serious voice. "What, don't you need your character to guarantee?" Hulina said in a sweet voice. Chapter 839. He doesn't have any personality. Listening to Hulina's words, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but say, "Hey Cher, I'm not happy with what you said. How can I not have any personality?" Listening to Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan said somewhat unhappily, "If you're not happy, then be unhappy. What else do you want? Hit me? Come, I'm right here. If you have the ability, then hit me." Chihiro Snow glanced at Lu Yuan and said arrogantly, "That's right. If you're not happy, then be unhappy. Do you want to hit us?" Hulina on the side couldn't help but agree. "Hey, so you two are colluding to target me alone." Listening to the two women's words, Lu Yuan was happy in his heart. The two of them were in the same boat. "Yes, we're targeting you. What's wrong?" Hulina said proudly. "Interesting. The two of you are really arrogant. You definitely can't bear to hit me, but later, I will definitely make the two of you beg for mercy." Lu Yuan's mouth slightly curved, revealing a trace of a smirk. "Bah, lecher." Chihiro Snow spat. "That's right, lecher." Hulina also glanced at him. "It's human nature to eat and lust. What's more, the two of you are so beautiful. It's impossible for me not to have any dirty thoughts." Lu Yuan said with a sigh. "You're the one with the most crooked reasoning." Hearing Lu Yuan say that she was beautiful, Chihiro Snow was happy in her heart, but on the surface, she didn't show it at all. She was the one with the advanced stage of tsundere cancer. Lu Yuan laughed, his eyes swept over the two of them, and said softly, "The night of spring is short. Your Highnesses, it's already late. We can go to bed." Chihiro Snow and Hulina blushed at the same time. "Here I come." Lu Yuan smiled gently and was about to kiss Chihiro Snow's red lips. "The light is still on." Looking at the light, Chihiro Snow said, "I think it's better to keep it lit," Lu Yuan said with a smile, a strange light in his eyes. After the engagement ceremony with Chihiro Snow and Hulina, the three of them spent a few days together before Chihiro Snow hurried back to the Heaven Do Empire. Love was important, but her infiltration had reached a critical stage. She could not afford to make any mistake. Therefore, even though she was extremely reluctant, she still rushed back. After all, she and Lu Yuan had spent a lot of effort on this matter. It would be a pity if they failed because of a moment of joy. Once this matter was successful and the continent was unified, she would have plenty of time to stay by Lu Yuan's side. Lu Yuan was naturally reluctant to see Chihiro Snow leave, but he did not stop her. After a while, he would also have to go back. He did not go back now because he still had things to do. "You're going into seclusion?" Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan in front of him, and asked with some confusion. Yes, my bloodline is fluctuating more and more intensely. I think the opportunity for a breakthrough has arrived, so I need to go into seclusion to evolve my bloodline. Lu Yuan said softly. How many days do you need to go into seclusion? Bibidon asked. I'm not sure, but at least 10 days to half a month. Lu Yuan estimated for a while and said gently. After all, it was a bloodline evolution. It was a transformation from the beginning to the end, so it would take a long time. At least 10 days to half a month? Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Bibidon could not help muttering to himself. After this bloodline evolution, you should be going back to the Dragon King Palace again, right? Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan and asked softly. Well, I haven't gone back for more than a year. It's time to go back and take a look. Lu Yuan said. Well, then you go, I will take good care of Nana for you. Bibidon was silent for a while and said softly. Dong Air, you don't want me to leave, right? I will stay with you for a few more days before going back. These days, Cher will be here, so I can't be close to you. You have to suffer. Gently hugging Bibidon, Lu Yuan said softly. I'm not a little girl, I don't care about these things. But you little bastard can take my thoughts into consideration. It shows that you still care about me. You still have some conscience. Glancing at Lu Yuan, Bibidon said faintly. Of course I care about you. I'm just a playboy, I'm not unfaithful. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Then you're very good. Do you want me to give you an award? So you're a playboy and you're very proud? Bibidon said snappily. I'm not. I just want to say that being a playboy is a little better than being unfaithful. Lu Yuan laughed. Virtue. Bibidon glanced at Lu Yuan and said softly. Lu Yuan smiled and did not care about Bibidon's words. He hugged Bibidon tightly in his arms and gently smelled the fragrance of her hair. His heart could not help but calm down. You're already rank 69, after this closed-door cultivation, you'll probably be rank 70. Have you thought about what you're looking for your 7th soul ring? Bibidon asked. 7th soul ring? Maybe I don't have to look for my 7th soul ring. Lu Yuan smiled with a strange look in his eyes. You don't have to look for it, unless someone will send it to you automatically? Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan and said. That's not impossible, Lu Yuan said. Stop fooling around, I'm serious. Have you thought about what soul ring you want for your 7th soul ring? This 7th soul ring is related to your martial soul true body, so you can't be careless. It's best to find a 100,000-year soul ring. Bibidon said with a serious expression. A 100,000-year soul ring is too low. My 6th soul ring is 250,000 year. With my current physique, my 7th soul ring is enough to reach 400,000 year, let alone after my bloodline evolve. It will definitely be higher. I'm looking for a soul ring that's at least 400,000 year and above. Lu Yuan said with a serious expression. Hearing this, Bibidon's mouth twitched. Is this guy speaking human language? A 100,000-year soul ring is too low? At least 400,000 year and above? According to your request, I don't think you can find a suitable soul ring, Bibidon said softly as she shook her head. Why don't we make a bet? Lu Yuan said with a faint smile as he rolled his eyes. What are we betting on? Bibidon asked. Let's bet if my 7th soul ring is 400,000 year and above. If it's not, I can agree to any of your requests. What if it's 400,000 year and above? Bibidon asked. Then you'll listen to me in the future. How about that? Lu Yuan chuckled as she touched Bibidon's chin. You want me to listen to you? Dream on, Bibidon said with a smile as she looked at Lu Yuan. Why, you don't dare? Lu Yuan asked. I dare, but I won't bet, Bibidon said. Why? Lu Yuan was a little puzzled as he asked. Because you've never done anything that you're not confident in. If you say this, it means that you're already prepared. You want me to be fooled? No way. Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan and said softly. Chapter 840. Then you know me quite well. Hearing Bibidan's words, Lu Yuan smiled and said softly, "With your character, after so many years, how could I not know?" Bibidan rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan and said indifferently. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He held Bibidan's waist with one hand and gently pressed his forehead against Bibidan's forehead. The two of them looked at each other. "But there's one thing I still don't understand. Where did you get a 400,000-year soul ring from?" Bibidan looked into Lu Yuan's eyes with a trace of puzzlement. A 100,000-year soul ring was already extremely difficult to find, let alone a 400,000-year soul ring? She didn't believe that Lu Yuan could casually conjure one. "Oh, that's a secret," Lu Yuan said softly, rolling his eyes. "What secret can't even be told to me?" Bibidan asked. Now that she had such a relationship with this guy, what else could this guy not tell her? Bibidan felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. "It's not that I can't tell you. Kiss me and I'll tell you," Lu Yuan said with a mischievous smile. "Get lost, little bastard. You only know how to take advantage of me. This emperor doesn't want to know now." Bibidan glared and said indifferently, "Woman, why is it so difficult for you to take the initiative for once?" Lu Yuan sighed helplessly. Stroking Bibidan's long hair with his right hand, Lu Yuan asked, "Have you heard of Bloodline Origin Ring?" "Bloodline Origin Ring, what's that?" Bibidan asked with some confusion. Bloodline Origin Ring, as the name implies, is a soul ring that comes from one's own bloodline. For example, a 100,000-year soul beast can directly condense its first 6 soul rings without hunting soul beasts. People with rich and special bloodlines can also obtain their own bloodline origin ring. Lu Yuan said indifferently. In fact, it was very simple. It was just like how Tang San had the Blue-Silver Emperor bloodline in the original novel, which allowed him to condense his 5th soul ring, which could evolve. Lu Yuan had a pure Golden Dragon bloodline, so he could also form a Golden Dragon bloodline origin ring. Why couldn't he do it in the past? That was because he had been evolving all this time. His bloodline was unstable, so how could he condense a bloodline origin ring? However, after this evolution, his bloodline had stabilized, and he could naturally condense a soul ring from his origin bloodline. There was no soul ring more suitable than this origin bloodline soul ring to be his 7th soul ring. This was because this soul ring came from him. Similarly, his origin bloodline soul ring could also evolve continuously. Moreover, he had the true dragon's heart blood. After this evolution, the bloodline origin ring he condensed might be quite strange. "I see, so your 7th soul ring is a soul ring condensed from your bloodline?" Bibidan asked. "Yes, my bloodline is quite extraordinary, and the bloodline origin ring will continue to evolve along with my evolution. With my current physique, once I successfully condense it, the soul ring will definitely be more than 400,000 years old." Lu Yuan laughed. "I see. I knew that you, little bastard, wanted to trick me into making a bet so that I would listen to you in the future." Bibidan looked at Lu Yuan and said indifferently, "What's wrong with listening to me? I won't harm you, nor will I deliberately abuse you. It's just that sometimes you are too stubborn and have a strong personality. It's easy for you to go down a dead end. I'm doing this for your own good." Lu Yuan sighed and said, "You're just making things up." Bibidan glared at Lu Yuan and said, "Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. Don't you want me to be obedient to you, just like Na? "Who said that? I don't have such thoughts. How can you be the same as Na? It's boring if you're obedient. I just like the strong empress. She's graceful, noble, and elegant. I'm only making this bet as a precaution when necessary. I think you know your weakness better than I do. As long as the Rakshasa inheritance is not removed, I can't be at ease with you," Lu Yuan said seriously as he looked at Bibidan with a burning gaze. Hearing this, Bibidan was silent for a moment. Looking at Lu Yuan, her gaze also became gentle. No matter how I change, you will always be the person I love the most in my heart. I won't hurt you, Bibidon said gently. Sigh. Hearing Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan sighed softly and didn't say anything. Bibidon looked at him and blinked her eyes. Her cherry lips actually took the initiative to lean towards Lu Yuan. Instantly, the fragrance of orchids filled the air. The two of them were tightly entangled. On the island in the middle of the lake, in a secluded house. Seclusion required absolute silence, so Lu Yuan couldn't possibly seclude himself in his own house. That was why he found a place that was a little far from his own room. Inside the house, there was a large wooden barrel. It had a diameter of 2.5 meters and a height of 1.5 meters. When such a large wooden barrel was brought in, Bibidon looked at him strangely. She didn't know what he was going to do. System, this wooden barrel is big enough. Lu Yuan secretly contacted the system. It's almost there. The system's voice sounded. Then let's begin the extraction. Lu Yuan said. Yes, begin the extraction of the true dragon's heart blood. After the system's cold voice, the originally empty wooden barrel was instantly filled with golden blood 4/5 of the entire barrel. Instantly, it shone brightly, illuminating the entire house. Faint dragon roars could be heard. The golden blood condensed into true dragons that roared at the sky, exuding an extremely dense dragon's might. Under this dragon's might, Lu Yuan's golden dragon bloodline's might was really not worth mentioning. He could even feel the blood in his body trembling. However, at the same time, there was also an instinctive desire to devour. With great difficulty, he suppressed the desire and strange trembling in his heart. Looking at the golden blood, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh softly. What a terrifying and pure true dragon's heart blood! But are you sure this is just a drop? Such a large wooden barrel was almost filled to the brim, and you're telling me this is just a drop? It is indeed a drop. The adult true dragon's body is incomparably huge. It's at least 100,000 feet long. It can even blot out the sky. This drop of heart blood is already the essence of compressed blood. Otherwise, a drop of blood would be at least the size of a small pond. The system's voice sounded. Lu Yuan. Very good, very bad *SS? What else could he say? A true dragon was bad *SS? The largest soul beast he had seen so far was Guyuna. Her true body was thousands of feet long, but compared to a true dragon, she was at most a caterpillar. The difference between them was simply immeasurable. There was no comparison, no comparison. The Douluo continent was far too inferior to this top-tier large world. Chapter 841. He really didn't know if he didn't compare, but when he did, he was shocked. The difference was so big that it made his heart tremble. A drop of blood was as big as a pond. It was really exaggerated. He had thought of consuming the blood of the true dragon's heart, but now that he saw the compressed golden blood that filled a large wooden barrel, he realized how stupid his original idea was. He probably wouldn't be able to drink it all even if he exploded. Moreover, the blood of the true dragon was so domineering. If he consumed it directly, it would probably cause great harm to his body. It seems that I can only soak it slowly and absorb the essence of the bloodline. This will take a long time. I'm afraid I won't be able to come out of seclusion for 10 days to half a month. It will take at least 3 or 4 months. I have to go out and inform Dong Er first so that she won't be anxious. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Then, he turned around and went out. He told Bibidon about the news. After settling down, he returned to the room again. Looking at the resplendent and sacred golden blood, Lu Yuan's eyes lit up. Next, it was time for him to be reborn. He took off his clothes, revealing his flawless jade-like skin. Lu Yuan flipped slightly and directly entered the wooden barrel. As soon as he stepped into the wooden barrel, the golden blood, which was already resplendent, immediately surged. Small golden dragons directly collided with Lu Yuan's body, then turned into pure energy and directly entered Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan couldn't help but groan and frown. What a domineering bloodline! I've already removed the immortal king's divine power. It's just the bloodline, but it's still so domineering. Even with my physique, I can't resist it. With a thought, Lu Yuan began to quickly circulate the clear Qi scripture. The golden dragon armor was also put on his body. At the same time, the golden dragon bloodline began to circulate. Plop! Lu Yuan directly sat down in the wooden barrel. The golden blood covered his entire body, and only his head was still exposed. The true dragon's blood, which was extremely powerful and tyrannical, gushed madly into Lu Yuan's body, entering his limbs and bones, and then surging into the depths of his blood vessels. This process was extremely painful because Lu Yuan had the bloodline of the golden dragon. When the two bloodlines clashed, there was bound to be a battle. However, the true dragon bloodline was too strong, so it must have been Lu Yuan's golden dragon bloodline that was suppressed. In the end, the true dragon bloodline must have been the main force, fusing with the purest parts of the golden dragon bloodline to form a new bloodline that would be Lu Yuan's evolved bloodline. As a result, one could imagine the pain Lu Yuan was experiencing. This could already be understood as a complete blood exchange. Absorbing the true dragon bloodline and getting rid of the impurities in the original bloodline, this kind of pain was probably not much worse than death by 1,000 cut. And the worst part was that Lu Yuan had to remain clear-headed, because only then could he ensure that the evolution of his bloodline could reach a perfect level. Otherwise, the impurities in the original bloodline might not be completely eliminated, and the new true dragon bloodline would not be able to fully exert its effects. This would undoubtedly be a huge waste. This was an extremely rare opportunity, so Lu Yuan obviously wanted to achieve the most perfect result. As a result, he could not avoid the pain that he needed to experience. It really fucking hurts. I've cultivated for so many years and I've experienced a lot of pain. This is still the most intense. Lu Yuan gritted his teeth tightly, his voice bursting out from the gaps between his teeth. His brows were tightly furrowed, and beads of sweat covered his forehead. Even though the pain was extremely intense, he still did not make a single sound. His powerful spiritual power gave him the ability to endure immense pain. Even being skinned and torn apart would not be able to compare to the pain that he was currently experiencing. The clear air divine seed emitted a white light, protecting Lu Yuan's sea of consciousness. Even though he was experiencing immense pain, his sea of consciousness was still calm. As long as his sea of consciousness did not collapse, then no matter how intense the pain was, it would not be a threat to Lu Yuan. Let the pain come even more fiercely. Gritting his teeth, Lu Yuan channeled the soul power of the clear air scripture, and quickly absorbed the true dragon bloodline around him. Immediately, small golden dragons roared into the sky, and then crashed into Lu Yuan's body, entering the depths of his bloodline. Lu Yuan was like a bottomless pit, crazily devouring the bloodline around him. With Lu Yuan as the center, the true dragon bloodline in the wooden bucket formed a small whirlpool and crazily surged towards him. Great Star Do Forest. Bottom of the Lake of Life. Gu Yuna, who had been sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened her eyes. Her purple pupils emitted a mysterious light. Why is Obuchi's bloodline fluctuating so violently? Has the evolution begun? Gu Yuna frowned slightly. Through the reverse scale, she could constantly sense Lu Yuan's state. Obuchi is not in any danger, but he seems to be in a lot of pain. Evolution should not be like this. Also, what's with that terrifying energy fluctuation? That aura is boundless and ancient, and even more so, it makes me feel a little apprehensive. Gu Yuna murmured softly. She was a little worried. She gently raised her jade-like hand, and was about to tear open the space. But then, she immediately put down her hand. No, the evolution of the bloodline is very important. It cannot be disturbed at all. Obuchi is in a critical period now. If my arrival frightens him, the consequences will be unimaginable. Gu Yuna said softly. Since his life is not in danger, then let's wait for Obuchi to finish his evolution before going to take a look. That heartless guy, why didn't he come to me for something as important as a bloodline evolution? Wouldn't it be safer with me protecting you? A hint of resentment appeared in Gu Yuna's eyes, but more than that, she was concerned. You have to evolve smoothly. When you evolve, it's time to give this to you. Gu Yuna murmured. She waved her hand slightly, and a dazzling bead shimmering with golden light appeared in her hand. Let it be a boost to your 7th soul ring, Gu Yuna said softly. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Bibidon, Hulina, and Zhu Zhuqing appeared in the pavilion at the center of the lake. Teacher, is Obuchi's seclusion not over yet? Hulina held a teacup with one hand, and her jade-like face was filled with deep concern. It had been 3 months, and Lu Yuan still hadn't come out of seclusion. She was a little worried in her heart. Not yet. He said that he would be in seclusion for a very long time. Also, I often get close to him, and I find that his aura is rapidly strengthening. He's fine, and there's no danger. Don't worry. Looking at Hulina, Bibidon said softly. That's true, but it's been 3 months. This time is a little too long. Also, I haven't seen him for 3 months, and I miss him a little. Hulina said. Chapter 842. Are you thinking about him again? Bibidon looked at Hulina and said with a faint smile. Yes, teacher, don't you miss him? Hulina admitted straightforwardly and even checkmated Bibidon. Why would I miss him? I don't miss that little bastard, Bibidon said. Teacher, you're not being honest. No wonder Obuchi said that you don't mean what you say. Why are you still hiding it from us? Zhuqing already knows about the matter between you and Obuchi. Hulina smiled. Hearing this, Bibidon was shocked. Even Zhu Zhuqing knew? She looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing smiled but didn't say anything. Teacher, your relationship with Obuchi will be known sooner or later. Why do you have to act like a little girl? Hulina said softly as she looked at Bibidon. I'm thinking for Obuchi. I don't care what the world thinks of me, but Obuchi is a genius. He's the pride of the world. I can't taint him because of me. Bibidon shook her head and said indifferently. If even your holiness doesn't care, then Obuchi won't care either. Moreover, in this world, the strong are respected. Once the martial soul palace unifies the continent, even if your holiness and Obuchi get together, no one will dare to say no. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice sounded. Zhuqing is right. As long as teacher and Obuchi are in love, so what if they're master and disciple? It's just a small matter. If not, like what Obuchi said, you can expel him from the sect first. Then, there won't be any obstacles between you two. Teacher, haven't you already gotten rid of all your worries with Obuchi? Why are you worried now? Hulina said. His Holiness the Pope is overthinking because he cares too much about Obuchi. That damned bastard just has to make us worry the most. He's been in seclusion for so long. I wonder what's going on now. I can only feel the aura, but I can't see the person. It's always worrying. Zhu Zhuqing said faintly, but her tone was filled with deep concern. Yes, Zhu Zhuqing's voice fell. Bibidon and Hulina could not help but nod at the same time. Lake Heart Island, Lu Yuan's place of seclusion. In the empty house, the furnishings were simple. A huge wooden barrel was placed in the middle of the room. In the wooden barrel, the golden blood that had filled the barrel had long since disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a layer of black-red bloody mud. The pure blood that belonged to the true dragon's heart blood had long been absorbed into Lu Yuan's body, while the impurities in Lu Yuan's body and the dregs in his blood had been completely expelled. At this moment, Lu Yuan's skin was white and delicate. His originally jade-like body had become even more flawless, and even carried a kind of divine aura. The surface of his skin faintly glowed with golden light, which meant that Lu Yuan's defense had reached a new level. Suddenly, Lu Yuan opened his eyes abruptly. Suddenly, there was a burst of light, and in the void, there was a flash of lightning. Light from thought, electricity from the empty room. This was an extremely high level. Golden light flickered in his eyes, and golden blood qi filled the air. Lu Yuan's body began to rapidly climb with dazzling golden dragon scales. If the golden dragon scales were originally diamond-shaped, then now the scales were in a completely different fan shape. Moreover, each scale carried a divine golden light. It was obvious that it had a great restraining power against evil. 2 bulges gradually rose from the top of Lu Yuan's head, and then slowly grew bigger. Finally, they turned into 2 dragon horns. A pair of golden dragon wings stretched out from his back, and gently stretched out. The wind it carried caused the wooden barrel that Lu Yuan was standing on to explode. Gently clenching his fist, he only felt a boundless power burst out from his body. With a punch, there was a low sound in the air. The fist force formed a terrifying air cannon, and directly blew up the door in front of him. Roar! Lu Yuan roared to the sky. The loud and clear dragon roar resounded, and instantly enveloped the entire island in the middle of the lake. Hiss, such a tyrannical dragon aura. Obuchi must have completed his evolution. Bibidon was the first to feel the dragon roar, and immediately said, "Then let's hurry over and take a look," Hulina said. Bibidon and Zhu Zhuqing nodded. The 3 of them quickly flashed and rushed in the direction of Lu Yuan. The dragon roar resounded for a long time. After the breath in Lu Yuan's chest was exhaled, it slowly stopped. Lu Yuan had just recovered his mind and glanced around, and 3 graceful figures appeared in his line of sight. "Ah, you little bastard, why aren't you wearing clothes?" Looking at Lu Yuan's current naked appearance, Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing were fine, but Bibidon was the first to scream. This was the first time she saw a man naked. "Why are you screaming? You will see it sooner or later. Moreover, my bloodline has transformed. How can I wear clothes?" Rolling his eyes, Lu Yuan said snappily, "That's right. Teacher, you will see it sooner or later. Why are you being shy now?" Hulina said softly. Her gaze swept over Lu Yuan's body, and her eyes lit up. "Obuchi, your figure has become even better. Do you like it?" Lu Yuan asked with a faint smile. "I like it." Hulina nodded honestly. "Then wash up tonight and wait," Lu Yuan said. "Okay," Hulina said with a smile. "You guys go first. I need to wash up. Of course, if you want to observe, I have no objections." Lu Yuan looked at the 3 of them and said with a half-smile, "Who wants to observe? Little bastard, you are still the same. Nana Zhuqing, let's go." Bibidon looked away and said indifferently, "Okay then. What a pity. I wanted to watch for a while longer." Hulina's expression was a little regretful. Bibidon. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan and then looked at Bibidon with a faint smile on her face. These 2 people are a little interesting. Moreover, even the dignified Pope would be shy when faced with this kind of thing. She is no different from an ordinary girl. Bibidon left. After so many years, this was the first time she saw a man's body. Her heart was a little unsettled. She was shy, panicked, and had a little bit of indescribable expectation. This was a very complicated feeling. Since Bibidon left, Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing naturally followed her. Looking at Bibidon's back that quickly swept away, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. "I didn't expect this woman to have such a cute side. She is really interesting. She actually saw my body and ran away shyly. But since she had seen him naked today, shouldn't he find a chance to see it back? Courtesy demands reciprocity. This doesn't seem to be wrong," Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 843. Lu Yuan smiled faintly, then looked at his body. Although it was pure and flawless, sitting in the wooden barrel for a long time, coupled with the impurities in his body being expelled, made his body a little dirty. Soul power surged, Lu Yuan casually pointed, and the water elements in the air quickly condensed, immediately forming streams of clean water. Water element control was an ability that he would never have had before the evolution, but for the current him, it was a piece of cake. Dragons were born with the ability to control water, especially true pure-blooded true dragons. In addition to their unbelievably strong bodies, their control of the elements was also at the peak. Especially water and fire control, these were simply innate abilities. Streams of pure water washed his body clean. Soul power circulated, evaporating the water droplets on his body, and Lu Yuan took out a new set of clothes to change into. Suddenly, the white clothes fluttered, and the extraordinary aura of Lu Yuan returned. Although the evolution of the bloodline this time was indescribably painful, the benefits were also incomparably great. Feeling the tyrannical bloodline power in his body, who knew how many times stronger, Lu Yuan said softly. The second-generation Golden Dragon bloodline was already incomparably strong, but compared to his current bloodline, the difference was incalculable. Originally, after only relying on the divine power of clear air to evolve, his bloodline was already comparable to the dragon god, but now it was definitely far superior. The benefits were too great, and he didn't know what level he was at now. System, open my personal interface. After thinking about it, Lu Yuan directly connected to the system. Ding, personal interface has been opened. Host, Lu Yuan Martial Soul, 5-clawed Golden Dragon King, God-slaying spear innate talent, born with Polychoria physique, demigod bloodline, 5-clawed Golden Dragon King rank 70 Soul Emperor Soul Rings, black red soul bones, Atlas palm bone, dark golden terraclaw right palm bone, golden dragon battle armor, Titan giant ape left arm bone cultivation method, clear air scripture, first half, skills. True dragon treasured skill, incomplete, Polychoria, 6 great soul ring skills. 4 forms of the sea god's divine skill, spear technique series, bloodline self-created soul skills, etc. Weapon. Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear, Super Divine Weapon, Golden Dragon Spear, Divine Weapon, Items. Clear Air Divine Seed, Sea God's Heart, Star Ring, Immortal Herbs, Pills, Soul Tools, etc. Demigod Body. So, unknowingly, my physique has already entered the divine level? Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the physique column in the system panel. His body was already very strong, and after so many transformations, he had already surpassed any human soul master in the world. With the constant nourishment of the pure energy and the baptism of the true dragon's heart blood, he had finally become a demigod. He was only a step away from becoming a god. Among the human soul masters, only Tang Chen, who had completed the Asura's 8 tests and had been transformed by the Asura god's divine power, possessed a demigod body. However, at that time, Tang Chen's body was already very broken. He could not unleash the power of a demigod at all. In fact, a demigod's body was actually very strong. After becoming a demigod, the age of my soul rings has increased tremendously. Roughly speaking, even if I kill the Snow Emperor or Tian, I can still withstand their soul rings. In other words, I can withstand at least 700,000 to 800,000 year soul rings without too much pressure. Amazing! The transformation this time is really like being reborn. The true dragon's heart blood is indeed the true dragon's heart blood. It's really extraordinary. There's also the incomplete true dragon treasured skill. My luck is not bad. I really obtained 2 of the loose moves. The power of this thing is definitely beyond my expectations. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Not bad, I'm very happy. Lu Yuan smiled gently. After that, he closed the system panel. Let's have a meal. After eating, I'll condense my 7th soul ring. Lu Yuan said softly. He was about to step out of the room. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the surrounding space, causing him to stop in his tracks. Who is it? Come out. A cold light flashed in Lu Yuan's eyes. The Dragon Emperor draining spring spear instantly appeared in his hand. Golden blood energy filled the air, and a tyrannical dragon's might immediately swept out. What, after not seeing each other for so long, you want to attack me as soon as we meet? A gentle voice sounded in Lu Yuan's ears, causing him to immediately stop his actions. A crack appeared in the void, and the silver-haired, purple-eyed Gu Yuna walked out. Her beautiful eyes blinked as she looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of resentment. Nar. Looking at this figure, Lu Yuan couldn't help but reveal a smile on his face. He hadn't seen Gu Yuna for a long time, and seeing her today really made him pleasantly surprised. You still remember me? I thought you forgot about me. It's been more than 2 years, and you haven't come to see me even once. Gu Yuna's purple eyes looked at Lu Yuan. Her eyes were full of complaint. I have something to do. I don't have time. Lu Yuan chuckled. He looked a little embarrassed. Do you have so much to do? You don't even have so much time? Gu Yuna glanced at Lu Yuan and asked indifferently. I really don't have time. My schedule is very tight. Listen to me. After putting away the Dragon Emperor's spring spear, Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and held Gu Yuna's hand. He had a sincere expression on his face as he recounted everything that had happened after he left the Great Star Do Forest. How is it? I didn't lie to you, did I? My schedule is really full. Lu Yuan said softly. You pass. But why were you so reckless? You didn't come to find me for something as important as your bloodline evolution. You would have been much safer with me around. Gu Yuna complained softly. It's my fault. But it's mainly because my bloodline evolution was too rushed. I didn't have time to rush over. I've made you worry. Lu Yuan said gently. It's good that you know. Do you know how worried I was when I sensed the situation when you were breaking through? If something like this happens again in the future, you have to find me immediately to protect you. I can help you. Gu Yuna said. Of course, of course. Lu Yuan said softly. He wrapped his hands around Gu Yuna's waist and pulled her into his embrace. Nar, you've become a lot prettier. Lu Yuan said with a smile as he looked at Gu Yuna's flawless face. For someone like him who was obsessed with appearances, looking at Gu Yuna's perfect face was a form of enjoyment. You've become a lot more handsome too, Gu Yuna said as she stared intently at Lu Yuan's face. After experiencing the baptism of the true dragon's heart blood, Lu Yuan's body had been cleansed of all impurities. He had become a demigod, and he had gained a special characteristic that he didn't have in the past. He had indeed become a lot more handsome. Especially after his bloodline evolution, his body exuded an invisible aura that was even more attractive to women. Even Gu Yuna couldn't take her eyes off him. Chapter 844. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Gu Yuna's praise naturally put him in a good mood. Looking at Gu Yuna's jade-like face and sniffing her alluring fragrance, Lu Yuan's mood fluctuated slightly. Seeing Gu Yuna again, the longing that had been hidden in his heart for a long time quickly spread out. Nar, since you're here, don't leave. Stay with me for a while. How about I show you around? Lu Yuan asked gently as he gazed at Gu Yuna's noble purple eyes. Okay. Gu Yuna nodded gently and said, You said that you would take me to travel around the continent. I've been waiting for this day. Haha, I'll keep my word. This time, I'll take you to the Heaven Do Empire. My Dragon King Palace is there. Oh, there's also the Icefire Yin Yang Well. That's also the old haunt of the Dragon Clan. The remnant soul of the Icefire Dragon King is still there and hasn't dissipated. Lu Yuan said gently. You can arrange it. I'll listen to you. Gu Yuna lowered her head slightly and leaned against Lu Yuan's chest as she spoke softly. In front of Lu Yuan, she was always as gentle as water. Getting along with Gu Yuna was a very comfortable experience. Hearing Gu Yuna's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. His left hand gently wrapped around Gu Yuna's waist as he raised his right hand and gently stroked her silver hair. Her crystal-like silver hair felt so good to the touch that Lu Yuan couldn't bear to part with it. "Now, how's your strength recovering?" Lu Yuan asked softly as he gently stroked her hair. "I've already recovered to the level of a first-tier god. Your esoteric character is very useful." Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan, her purple eyes filled with gentleness. If it weren't for Lu Yuan, she didn't know how many years it would take for her to completely recover. "You've recovered to the level of a first-tier god? That's fast. With your level of a first-tier god and the help of the esoteric character, as well as your powerful spiritual power, I'm afraid you're invincible among the first-tier gods." My wife is too powerful. I'm under a lot of pressure." Lu Yuan sighed softly. "Pucci." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Gu Yuna couldn't help but laugh and said, "No matter how powerful I am, I won't do anything to you. Moreover, you will definitely be stronger than me in the future. You are our hope. Besides, you're not too bad now. You have the body of a demigod and mental strength of a half-step to the limit. Especially that bloodline in your body. Although it's restrained, it still makes me a little scared. I don't know how far your bloodline has evolved. It's just like that. It's just a little stronger than the dragon god's bloodline." Lu Yuan said with a faint smile, with an indifferent expression on his face. Gu Yuna was speechless. The dragon god's bloodline was already known to be the most powerful bloodline on the Douluo continent. This guy's bloodline had evolved to be even more powerful than the dragon gods, yet he still seemed to be very dissatisfied. This made Gu Yuna, who had always been good-tempered, want to beat him up. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile at the sight of Gu Yuna's expression. Gu Yuna and the others all viewed the dragon god as their paramount faith, and the dragon god's bloodline was extremely powerful. Now that she had heard his words, her heart was definitely trembling. "You're still smiling? This is the first time I've seen you asking for a beating." Gu Yuna glanced at Lu Yuan with a displeased expression. It was just a joke to liven up the atmosphere. A faint smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face as he lowered his head to make contact with Gu Yuna's forehead, and said, "I did indeed reap a lot of rewards from my recent evolution. The main reason for that is because I obtained a drop of heart blood from a pure-blooded true dragon." "A pure-blooded true dragon? It's that powerful?" Gu Yuna was rather stunned to hear this. Since when were true dragons so powerful that Lu Yuan's bloodline had surpassed that of the dragon gods? "The true dragon I'm referring to is a true dragon, not the so-called giant dragons of the Douluo continent that you're thinking of. Nar, I'm going to say something that you might not be able to accept, but please don't get too worked up," Lu Yuan said in a soft voice. "Go ahead, I won't get worked up," Gu Yuna replied. "What I want to say is that all of the dragons on the Douluo continent are actually only mixed-blood dragons, including the dragon god. It's also a mixed-blood dragon, and it's far inferior to a true dragon. Look, this is what a true dragon should look like." Lu Yuan pointed his finger forward, and the water in the air surged before forming a series of roaring five-clawed true dragons. "Isn't this the type of dragon that you created with your soul skill, dragon roaming the great void?" Gu Yuna asked. "That's right, this is the form of a true dragon," Lu Yuan replied in a warm voice. "I've never seen this type of dragon before," Gu Yuna said with a shake of her head at the sight of Lu Yuan's true dragon form. "It's normal that you've never seen one before as there are no true dragons on the Douluo continent," Lu Yuan said. "Then how did you obtain the heart blood?" Gu Yuna asked as she turned to Lu Yuan. "Well, I've always been special, haven't I?" Lu Yuan replied. "That's true, you're different." Gu Yuna nodded in response. She knew that Lu Yuan wasn't from the Douluo continent, and he had a mysterious background, so it wasn't all that unbelievable that he'd been able to obtain the heart blood of a true dragon. "Then has your bloodline evolved to that of a pure-blooded true dragon?" Gu Yuna asked. I'm not a pure-blooded true dragon, but I'm not too far away from it. Furthermore, my bloodline is a little strange. It possesses the characteristics of both pure-blooded true dragons and Douluo dragons. I have the body of an eastern dragon and the wings of a western dragon. Due to the fact that my bloodline evolved from the Golden Dragon King, I call it the five-clawed Golden Dragon King. However, this form is rather similar to a type of dragon known as the Godly Dragon. Lu Yuan explained in a soft voice. Godly dragon? What kind of dragon is that? Gu Yuna's eyes widened slightly upon hearing this. She'd never heard of this dragon before. Godly dragon, I'll tell you about it slowly. Lu Yuan pressed his forehead against Gu Yuna's, and he began to slowly tell her about the godly dragon. At the same time, he introduced all types of other powerful dragons to Gu Yuna. Gu Yuna's beautiful purple eyes were wide open as she listened to Lu Yuan's story with an unblinking gaze. She was very interested in the strange dragons that Lu Yuan was describing. Do you understand now? Lu Yuan asked in a gentle voice as he gently nuzzled Gu Yuna's pretty face. I understand. I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me, but now that you've mentioned it, I feel like my bloodline is very weak. Gu Yuna spoke softly. She was a little shocked to hear Lu Yuan talk about powerful dragons, and for the first time, she felt that the bloodline of the Silver Dragon King was just so. She was the great ruler of all soul beasts on the Douluo continent. She had always been proud of her bloodline, but after hearing Lu Yuan's words today, she realized just how ignorant and ill-informed she was. Haha, you're thinking too much. That's a dragon that only exists in other large worlds. You're very powerful in the Douluo world, really. Lu Yuan first laughed before beginning to comfort Gu Yuna. Chapter 845. That's true, but I still can't feel happy, Gu Yu said softly. Suddenly knowing that she was so weak, and that there were so many powerful dragons above her, it would be strange if she didn't feel shocked. Ancestral dragon, winged dragon, torch dragon, and so on made her scalp tingle. She really didn't expect that there would be such powerful dragons in the world. Compared to this, she was really beaten to a pulp in an instant. Then let's talk about something that will make you happy. My bloodline has evolved, so now we can do that. And if we are lucky, maybe we can have a descendant with a powerful bloodline. Lu Yuan said softly with a strange smile on his face. As soon as these words came out, Gu Yuna's pretty face suddenly blushed. When they were in the Great Star Do Forest, she actually took the initiative, but Lu Yuan refused at that time because he said that his bloodline had not evolved. And now that his bloodline had finally evolved, they could indeed do that. Nar, let's have a little dragon god. Our bloodlines are so pure and we have to pass it down. Lu Yuan leaned close to Gu Yuna's ear and whispered. N. Gu Yuna said softly. If one didn't listen carefully, they wouldn't be able to hear it clearly. But Lu Yuan's perception was sensitive, and he heard this soft voice clearly. With a thought, Lu Yuan lowered his head slightly and sealed Gu Yuna's red lips. After not seeing each other for a long time, the two of them were naturally very intimate. After a while, Lu Yuan held Gu Yuna's hand and walked out. Lu Yuan's temperament was like an immortal, and Gu Yuna was as perfect as a goddess. The two of them walking together were really a perfect match. The two of them should be the peak of male and female appearance in the entire Douluo continent. After absorbing the true dragon's heart blood, Lu Yuan's appearance improved again, and it had reached an indescribable level. And Gu Yuna was needless to say, the title of the #1 beauty in the Douluo world was not undeserved. Even the current Chihiro Snow and Bibidon were inferior to her. The two of them walked out hand in hand towards the pavilion in the middle of the lake. Hey, am I seeing things? There seems to be a woman next to Obuchi. Hulina was far away. She couldn't see clearly. I'm not mistaken. It's a woman. But where did this woman come from? The Martial Soul Palace is so heavily guarded. How did she get in? Zhu Zhuqing narrowed her eyes and asked in a cold voice. They're holding hands. That little bastard wouldn't be so close to a woman he doesn't know. If I'm not wrong, that woman should be Gu Yuna. She's so strong, it wouldn't be difficult for her to sneak into the martial soul palace. Bibidon glanced around and said indifferently, "It should be her. Among Obuchi's women, she's the only one I haven't seen," Zhu Zhuqing said. "Who are those people?" As they walked, Gu Yuna suddenly sensed Bibi Dong and the others' gazes and asked with a puzzled expression, "They're all my women." Lu Yuan chuckled. "That Chihiro Snow isn't here, but there are 3 of them. Did you find them again after you got together with me?" Gu Yuna was stunned at first. Then, she seemed to think of something. Her purple eyes swept towards Lu Yuan. I can't do anything about it." Lu Yuan scratched his head and said embarrassedly, "Like hell I'll believe you. You're such a playboy. Tell me honestly, how many girlfriends do you have?" Gu Yuna asked. "Not many. Including you, only 6. Lu Yuan smiled. "6 isn't a lot? How many more do you want?" Gu Yuna stared at Lu Yuan and asked indifferently. "I'm not looking anymore. I won't even have time to rest if I look for another week." Lu Yuan smirked and said, "You're really a pervert." Gu Yuna was stunned at first. Only after thinking about it carefully did she understand what Lu Yuan meant. She couldn't help but spit. "Thanks for the compliment. It's a man's nature. Besides, I'm a dragon." Lu Yuan glanced at Gu Yuna and said with a faint smile, "Gu Yuna." Encountering such a Lu Yuan, she was really at her wits' end. His skin was so thick that even the city walls might not be comparable to it. Moreover, she had always been gentle to Lu Yuan. Although she was powerful, she really couldn't control Lu Yuan. On the contrary, she basically listened to Lu Yuan. Let's go. It's time for you to meet each other." Lu Yuan chuckled. He took Gu Yuna's hand and walked quickly into the pavilion in the middle of the lake. "So beautiful." Bibidon and the other 2's gazes fell on Gu Yuna as soon as Lu Yuan and the other 2 arrived. Gu Yuna's perfect appearance shocked them immediately. "No wonder Obuchi can't forget about you. I didn't expect there to be such a beautiful woman in this world." Hulina looked straight at Gu Yuna and couldn't help but sigh. "You're really beautiful. No wonder Chiao always said that her sister Nura was the most beautiful." Zhu Zhuqing was also captivated for a moment. She couldn't help but praise softly. "Such a face is really stunning. Little bastard, why are you so lucky that such a beautiful person fell in love with you?" Bibidon sighed softly, then turned to look at Lu Yuan. "I can't help it. Who asked me to be so charming?" Lu Yuan spread his hands and said helplessly, "Bah! Bah! Bah!" Bibidon and the other 2 spat at the same time. "Lu Yuan, you're still so shameless." Lu Yuan chuckled when he saw what the 3 of them were doing. He wasn't angry at all. "Let me introduce you. This is Gu Yuna, the possessor of the Silver Dragon bloodline. She and I are a match made in heaven," Lu Yuan said softly. "Hello, welcome to the Martial Soul Palace. I'm Pope Bibidon of the Martial Soul Palace." Bibidon ignored Lu Yuan and greeted Gu Yuna directly. This was the first time that Lu Yuan had seen Bibidon take the initiative to greet someone. Bibidon was a limit Douluo, and she could sense how terrifying Gu Yuna was. She was a powerful being who exceeded the imagination of ordinary people, so her attitude towards Gu Yuna was quite good. The strong were revered, and this was reflected in all aspects of the Douluo continent. "Hello, I'm the Holy Maiden of the Martial Soul Palace, Hulina." "Hello, I'm Zhu Zhuqing." Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing also greeted Bibidon. "Hello, I'm Gu Yuna," Gu Yuna said softly. "All right, there's no need to be so formal. We're going to be a family in the future, so there's no need to be so formal. Let's sit down and talk." Lu Yuan said softly as he pulled Gu Yuna to sit down on a stone bench. Bibidon and the others were very interested in meeting Gu Yuna for the first time, and their eyes were constantly on her. Chapter 846. Gu Yuna, on the other hand, wasn't shy at all. Her actions were appropriate and natural. Bibidon, the Pope, couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Moreover, with her keen senses, she could clearly sense the superior temperament in Gu Yuna's bones. It was obvious that Gu Yuna was in a high position like her. She didn't know what Gu Yuna's identity was and how Lu Yuan managed to kidnap her. As she thought about this, Bibidon's eyes unconsciously glanced at Lu Yuan. "What are you looking at? Why are you looking around?" Lu Yuan said snappily when he felt Bibidon's eyes darting around. "I can't even look at you now?" Bibidon asked indifferently. "Of course you can. I'll let you look at me to your heart's content tonight." Lu Yuan smiled. "Bah, you wish," Bibidon said coquettishly. This guy wanted to take advantage of her again. How could she run away when they were together in the middle of the night? She wasn't ready for the final step yet. Hearing Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He knew that Bibidon wasn't ready, and he wouldn't force her. This kind of thing was more interesting after all. "By the way, Dong Er, arrange for someone to prepare a room for Na later. She'll be staying here for a few days," Lu Yuan said softly as he looked at Bibidon. "I know. Just leave it to me." Bibidon's red lips parted slightly as she said indifferently. I'm relieved when you're handling things." Lu Yuan smiled. Hearing this, Bibidon's expression didn't change, but she was a little happy in her heart. She looked at Lu Yuan and asked, "Did your bloodline evolution go smoothly this time?" Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but look at Lu Yuan. They were most concerned about Lu Yuan's situation. "It went quite well. My bloodline has successfully evolved from a golden dragon to a 5-clawed golden dragon king. My martial soul is now the #1 beast martial soul on the continent," Lu Yuan said gently. "Have you condensed your 7th soul ring?" Bibidon asked. "Not yet. I'm a little hungry. Let's talk after dinner." "I haven't eaten for 3 months," Lu Yuan said. "Ha ha." Hearing this, Hulina could not help but laugh. "What are you laughing at?" Lu Yuan looked at Hulina. "It's nothing. I just find it a little funny. You haven't eaten for 3 months. Those who don't know would think that you're living a miserable life," Hulina said with a smile. "Indeed. I used to see those beggars say that they haven't eaten for 3 days. Give them some. You're amazing. You haven't eaten for 3 months. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice sounded. There was a hint of teasing in her tone. Lu Yuan. Hearing the two girls' words, Lu Yuan's face darkened. Are they comparing me to a beggar? Seeing Lu Yuan's slightly dark face, Bibidon was also a little amused and said indifferently, Okay, stop fooling around. Since Obuchi is hungry, let's eat first. It's almost noon. Okay, teacher, you have the final say. Obuchi, eat more later. Hulina blinked and said with a playful face. Lu Yuan. Looking at Hulina's beautiful face full of smiles, Lu Yuan said indifferently, Wash up and wait tonight. You'll be alone tonight. As soon as he said that, Hulina's face fell. If Obuchi wanted to take revenge, she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to do it alone. Obuchi, why don't we add the Zhuqing gang to help? She was also involved just now. With that thought, Hulina immediately pulled someone to be her scapegoat. Zhu Zhuqing. She looked at Hulina with her clear eyes wide open. What happened to being good sisters? Were they betrayed just like that? What a pair of plastic sisters. Okay, the two of you will be together tonight. Lu Yuan said softly and glanced at Bibidon. Look at you. Don't tell me you have something to say. Do you want to join? No, you'd better look for the two of them. Bibidon immediately pulled out. Dead Taoist and undead Taoist, you guys can mess around. She didn't want to get involved. What a pity. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh softly. Bibidon couldn't help but secretly spit. As expected, this guy wanted to do something to her. After the order was given, lunch was soon ready. After eating lunch together and chatting for a while, Lu Yuan prepared to go into seclusion to condense his bloodline soul ring. What he said just now was just a joke. Condensing his soul ring was the real deal. Obuchi, if you want to condense your soul ring, bring me along. I came for this matter. Gu Yuna said softly as she pulled Lu Yuan's sleeve. And? Lu Yuan was slightly surprised, but looking at Gu Yuna's serious expression, he nodded. Then come along. Dong Air, you guys chat. Naer and I will go first. Lu Yuan said to Bibidon and the others. Don't worry, go. Be careful, Bibidon said. I will, Lu Yuan replied softly as he held Gu Yuna's hand and walked towards a place not far away. After finding an empty room, Lu Yuan and Naer walked in. Standing slightly upright, Lu Yuan looked into Gu Yuna's eyes and asked in a low voice, Naer, what do you want to say now? My 7th soul ring is a bloodline soul ring. How can you help me? Of course I have a way. Look at this. Gu Yuna said as she waved her hand, and a golden bead appeared in her hand. Suddenly, rich energy fluctuations swept out, causing Lu Yuan to raise his eyebrows. This thing is not simple. Such powerful energy fluctuations, and it actually contains divine power? Looking at the golden bead, Lu Yuan couldn't help but say in a serious voice. This is the 2nd generation Golden Dragon's God Core, Gu Yuna said softly. The 2nd generation Golden Dragon's God Core? It left something like this behind? Lu Yuan was a little surprised as he asked. It did. However, although this God Core belonged to it, it has already lost a small portion of its divine power. Gu Yuna said. A small portion of its divine power has been lost? What's going on? Tell me, Lu Yuan said. It's like this. When the 2nd generation Golden Dragon reached the end of its lifespan, the divine power and bloodline in its God Core began to seep out. Generally speaking, the God Core is the core of a God Beast. Bloodline essence and divine power are stored in the God Core. But back then, that supreme purple light forcefully extracted the bloodline essence from the God Core and created you. As a result, only origin divine power is left in the God Core. Without the bloodline essence, the divine power in the God Core began to seep out faster. If I hadn't sealed it in time, I'm afraid that the entire God Core's origin divine power would have dissipated. Even so, it still lost a small portion of its divine power. It's a pity that the Golden Dragon's origin divine power is very beneficial to you. Gu Yuna sighed softly. Chapter 847. There's nothing to regret. There's still more than half of the divine origin power left. You've already done your best. Furthermore, the 2nd generation Golden Dragon is a first-tier god. I don't have the ability to absorb its complete divine origin power. Lu Yuan said gently. That's true. Gu Yuna couldn't help but smile at Lu Yuan's words. If anyone below the god rank dared to touch the complete origin power of a first-tier god, there would only be one result. Their body would explode and they would die. So, Naer, you want to use this thing to help me condense my 7th soul ring? Lu Yuan asked softly as he gently caressed Gu Yuna's face. Yes. I plan to use your bloodline soul ring as the foundation and fuse it with the 2nd generation Golden Dragon's divine origin power to create a divine ring for you. It will lay the foundation for you to become a god, Gu Yuna said softly. Divine ring? Do you think I can fuse with a divine ring with my current physique? Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. A divine ring wasn't a million-year soul ring. It was much more domineering than a million-year soul ring. A million-year soul ring could only be transformed into a divine ring after its owner became a god and was branded with divine power. It could be said that a million-year soul ring only had the foundation to become a god-rank soul ring, but it wasn't actually a god-rank soul ring. A true god-rank soul ring was very powerful. Gu Yuna wanted to use Lu Yuan's bloodline soul ring as the foundation and the 2nd generation Golden Dragon's divine origin power as the energy to create a divine ring. It wasn't impossible because the second-generation Golden Dragon was a true god and Lu Yuan's bloodline was unimaginably powerful. The combination of the two was actually very promising. However, the problem was that Lu Yuan couldn't withstand the power of a god-rank soul ring at all. A demigod body was indeed very powerful. It could even withstand a million-year soul ring after a period of growth. However, it was impossible to perfectly withstand a divine ring unless the demigod body evolved into a god body. How could it be so simple to evolve into a god body? I know you can't withstand the divine ring, and you can't completely absorb the divine power within the divine core. But with me here, I can use my own divine power to protect you. I've already recovered to the level of a first-tier god. You also have the assistance of the clear air divine power, and the vast ocean divine power, and the origin divine power of the second-generation Golden Dragon is extremely compatible with you, so you won't feel any discomfort. On top of that, your demigod body can withstand a 900,000-year soul ring. If that's the case, you should be able to withstand it even if your soul rings are increased to 1,000,000 years. As for the energy you can't absorb from the divine ring, you can divide it into 3 parts. First, use it to promote the evolution of the attached soul bone. Second, use it to increase the age of your other soul rings. Thirdly, the remaining energy is sealed in your soul bone. You can slowly absorb the energy from it. With this 3-pronged approach, no matter how much divine energy the second-generation Golden Dragon's divine core transforms into, you'll still be able to absorb it all. Gu Yuna analyzed seriously. Lu Yuan was touched by Gu Yuna's words. Her arrangements were so logical and detailed, so she must have thought about it for a long time. Perhaps she had been preparing for this day since a long time ago. With that in mind, Lu Yuan looked at Gu Yuna's serious expression, and he couldn't help but reach out and gently embrace her. What's wrong? Gu Yuna was taken aback by Lu Yuan's embrace, and she looked at him with a puzzled expression. Nar, it's so good to have you around, Lu Yuan said softly. Gu Yuna had done so much for him all this time, but he couldn't help her with anything, so he felt a little guilty. Gu Yuna couldn't help but smile when she heard this, and she also gently embraced Lu Yuan. You're also very good to me, so there's no need to stand on ceremony between us, Gu Yuna said gently. Yes. Lu Yuan buried his head in Gu Yuna's silvery hair and murmured softly. Na-er. Lu Yuan gently called out. What's wrong? Gu Yuna asked again. Nothing. Lu Yuan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. The two of them hugged quietly for a while, and Lu Yuan said softly, Ner, when you finish absorbing the soul ring, I'll teach you a claw technique. After thinking for a long time, he was prepared to teach Gu Yuna the true dragon claw of the true dragon treasured skill. He had absorbed the true dragon's heart blood, and relied on his excellent perception to comprehend the 3 moves of the true dragon treasured skill. They were the dragon control technique, dragon roar, and true dragon claw. The dragon control technique could control all dragons in the world, and it could even transform one's true chi into a true dragon to defend against enemies. The dragon roar's sound wave attack contained a strong dragon's might, and it could shatter one's courage and cause one's soul to scatter. The true dragon claw's attack was unparalleled, and there was nothing it couldn't break. It was definitely Lu Yuan's strongest attack skill. Once this skill was unleashed, all beasts would bow their heads. For example, the dragon god's claw that Di Tian was so proud of was nothing compared to the true dragon claw. The true dragon treasured skill belonged to the dragon race, and humans without the dragon bloodline couldn't use it to their fullest potential. It wasn't like the 9 esoteric arts, which was a human race secret art that was innately suited for humans. Furthermore, he had only just comprehended the true dragon treasured skill, so he didn't want to teach it to anyone. But how could he bear to keep it to himself after Gu Yuna treated him so well? If he taught the true dragon claw to Gu Yuna, Even if she didn't have the dragon bloodline, her battle prowess would be greatly enhanced. After all, Gu Yuna was a silver dragon king, and no matter what, she was still a dragon. Teach me a claw technique? I'm a clone of the dragon god, so I know the dragon god's claw. You don't have to teach me a claw technique. Oh right, do you want to learn the dragon god's claw? I can teach you. Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan and asked in a gentle voice. Hearing this, Lu Yuan was even more moved. He kissed Gu Yuna's forehead and said, "There's no need for the dragon god's claw. What I want to teach you is the true dragon claw of a pure-blooded dragon. Its attack power is unrivaled in this world, and if you use it, your power will definitely rise to another level. Once you recover your original strength, with the esoteric secret art and the true dragon claw, you'll be able to put up a fight even against the Azura god, who has the strongest attack power. Perhaps he won't even be a match for you." The true dragon claw of a pure-blooded dragon? That's too precious. Gu Yuna's voice trembled slightly. She didn't need to think to know that this technique from a pure-blooded dragon would be unimaginably powerful. You're good to me, so I naturally won't be stingy. Don't refuse. Lu Yuan said in a gentle voice. Alright. Gu Yuna nodded gently and replied in a gentle voice. She looked at Lu Yuan with deep affection in her eyes. The true dragon claw was definitely far more valuable than the second-generation golden dragon's divine core, but Lu Yuan was still willing to give it to her, just like how he had taught her the esoteric secret art. She would remember this kindness in her heart. In the end, she hadn't fallen in love with the wrong person. Lu Yuan's love for her was also very deep. This little man always said that he hadn't helped her, but in reality, he had already helped her enough. Chapter 848. From the Life Spirit Crystal to the Secret Character to the True Dragon Claw. He didn't give her many things, but they were all valuable treasures. This was especially so for the Secret Character and the True Dragon Claw. Their value couldn't be measured by ordinary items. In comparison, the Golden Dragon Spear and the second-generation Golden Dragon's God's Core couldn't compare. Come to think of it, this man is quite generous. He's also quite generous. Gu Yuna thought to herself. Oh yes, since the second-generation Golden Dragon's God's Core is here, does that mean its soul bone is here too? Lu Yuan suddenly thought of something, and couldn't help but ask. Even 100,000-year soul beasts would produce soul bones, let alone the second-generation Golden Dragon. It would definitely produce a soul bone. Of course it does. The second-generation Golden Dragon's God-tier soul bone is my second gift to you. It's also used to seal the Divine Ring's power. Otherwise, an ordinary 100,000-year soul bone wouldn't be able to store much of the Divine Ring's power. Let go of me first, and I'll show it to you. Gu Yuna said softly. Alright. Lu Yuan replied. After that, he gently let go of Gu Yuna's waist. Gu Yuna took a step back. Light flashed in her hand, and a bright golden soul bone appeared in her hand. This was a right arm bone. It was an extremely complete and mystical right arm bone. There were dense undulations of divine power on it. The entire soul bone didn't seem like an inanimate object. Instead, it seemed more like a living being. It was full of life. Furthermore, because they came from the same source, Lu Yuan felt a sense of closeness to it. This is the Golden Dragon's right arm bone. It's hard to find a more suitable soul bone for you. Furthermore, given the Golden Dragon's pride, only you can absorb its soul bone. Even Chiu can't do it. Her Golden Dragon bloodline is too thin. Gu Yuna said softly. After hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but nod. Even the Ice Jade Scorpion's soul bone had its own pride. Apart from those with ultimate ice martial souls, no one else could absorb it. Furthermore, it was the soul bone of the second-generation Golden Dragon. In the entire continent, the only person who could absorb its soul bone was Lu Yuan. Although Lu Yuan's bloodline had evolved, the special characteristics of the Golden Dragon bloodline had been preserved. In fact, it had even been enhanced. Therefore, absorbing this soul bone was not a problem for him. Obuchi, absorb it. With it, your physique will be strengthened by a lot. When the time comes, even if you rely on yourself, you should be able to withstand a million-year soul ring. With my protection, the formation of the divine ring is even more assured. Gu Yuna said. Alright, Nar, help protect me. Lu Yuan said warmly. Gu Yuna nodded and said, Alright, go ahead and absorb the energy. Pinching Gu Yuna's pretty face, Lu Yuan took the golden dragon right arm bone from her hand, then found a clean place to sit down cross-legged. His bloodline surged, and the dragon's aura of the five-clawed golden dragon king's bloodline instantly filled the entire room. Gu Yuna's pretty face changed when she was enveloped by this dragon's aura. The bloodline in her body surged, and a desire to crawl surged in her heart. However, she was now a level 1 god. Her strength was extremely high, and this desire was suppressed by her absolute strength. Even so, her expression still fluctuated. What a terrifying bloodline aura. Even the dragon god can't compare to it. Pure-blooded true dragons are indeed terrifying. Just a drop of their heart's blood has allowed Obuchi's bloodline to reach such a level. Gu Yuna sighed in her heart. Gu Yuna was wrong. Pure-blooded true dragons were indeed terrifying, but not all of them were omnipotent. It also depended on their cultivation. Lu Yuan had only been able to evolve so much because he had obtained the heart's blood from an immortal king-rank true dragon. After evolving, Lu Yuan's bloodline was already comparable to that of a normal true dragon, which was why Gu Yuna's bloodline was so oppressive. If it were a normal true dragon, Lu Yuan definitely wouldn't have been able to reap such great benefit. Lu Yuan picked up the golden dragon right arm bone and pressed it against his right arm. As long as he was powerful enough, there was no threshold for him to absorb soul bones. It wasn't like soul rings, which required both his physique and spiritual power. For example, a soul ancestor could absorb 100,000-year soul bone, but absorbing a 100,000-year soul ring would be suicide. However, there were always some special soul bones that had high requirements for the person absorbing them. The golden dragon was one of them. Its power was extremely violent, and if one wasn't powerful enough and couldn't control it, then it was very likely that the soul bone's power would backfire. However, this didn't exist for Lu Yuan. Not to mention that he was extremely compatible with the golden dragon right arm bone, just his current strength attribute was much more domineering than the golden dragon's. Soul power circulated, and the golden clear chi scripture soul power exuded a tyrannical aura. Under the effect of soul power, the golden dragon right arm bone turned into a streak of golden light and directly entered Lu Yuan's right arm. Suddenly, an incomparably tyrannical power gushed out of Lu Yuan's right arm and spread throughout his body. What vigorous divine power! It seems that my constitution can take another step forward. Feeling the tyrannical power of this power, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The clear chi scripture quickly circulated, and his chi, blood, and golden core trembled. Boundless bloodline power surged out and started to rapidly absorb the power of the golden dragon right arm bone, nourishing his body. Even though he was now a demigod, Lu Yuan could still feel that his constitution was slowly becoming stronger. This was because the feeling of being filled with power couldn't be deceived. The five-clawed golden dragon king's bloodline and the clear chi scripture circulated at the same time, and the refining speed could be said to be extremely fast. In addition to the extremely high compatibility and intimacy, Lu Yuan basically didn't encounter any problems during his journey of fusing with the soul bone. After about 2 hours, the dragon roars stopped, and Lu Yuan's polychoria suddenly opened. The fusion of the golden dragon right arm bone was complete. He gently clenched his fist, and a terrifying power immediately surged. Lu Yuan didn't know how strong he was now, but his intuition told him that he could kill an ordinary titled Douluo with a single punch. Furthermore, he could smash them into smithereens. If his strength was less than 300,000 kilograms when he came out of the City of Massacre, then his current strength was at least 500,000 kilograms. The important thing to note was that it was at least 500,000 kilograms. The baptism of the true dragon's heart blood, and the right arm bone of the second-generation golden dragon, had raised his strength to an absolutely terrifying level. Lu Yuan didn't dare to be certain of his terrifying strength, because he hadn't tested it before. However, there was no doubt that his improvement was huge. Seeing Lu Yuan open his eyes, Gu Yuna couldn't help but ask softly, "Are you done absorbing?" Chapter 849. Lu Yuan looked at Gu Yuna in a gentle voice and said, "Yes, I've made great progress. I'm confident that I'll be able to attain a million-year soul ring." "Alright, then we can begin preparing for your 7th soul ring," Gu Yuna said. What are you going to do?" Lu Yuan asked Gu Yuna softly. "You can condense your bloodline soul ring first, and once you've condensed your soul ring to a certain degree, I'll channel the energy from the second-generation Golden Dragon God Core into your bloodline soul ring. At the same time, you just have to work hard to reach a higher number of years. As for condensing your divine ring, controlling the energy, and sealing it, I'll help you with that. I'll also use my own divine power to protect you, so you won't be in any danger," Gu Yuna said. A faint smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face upon hearing this, and he said, "I rarely live off women in the past, but I've got to admit that I'm living off a woman today. It's great to have such a powerful wife. I can save myself years of hard work." Gu Yuna burst into laughter upon hearing Lu Yuan's words, and said, "Then you have to be more obedient in the future. Otherwise, you won't be able to live off a woman anymore." "Obedient? Nah, I'll make you more obedient," Lu Yuan said with a mischievous grin. "You're such a cheeky talker." Gu Yuna pouted before a serious expression appeared on her face. "Let's begin." Lu Yuan nodded in response, and his soul power surged. Golden light surged from his body, and a holy aura exuded from his body. A loud dragon's roar rang out, and a divine dragon appeared behind Lu Yuan. Its head resembled that of a cow, its horns resembled those of a deer, its eyes resembled prawns, its ears resembled that of an elephant, its neck resembled that of a snake, its scales resembled those of a fish, its claws resembled those of a phoenix, and its palms resembled those of a tiger. Aside from the addition of a pair of golden dragon wings, it was no different from a pure-blooded true dragon. Dazzling golden fan-shaped scales began to appear all over Lu Yuan's body, and a pair of dragon horns protruded from his head. A pair of golden dragon wings flapped gently behind him, and his 6 black, red, and red soul rings began to radiate dazzling divine light. Lu Yuan's dual pupils flashed, and his 5-clawed golden dragon king bloodline began to surge within his body. Countless specks of golden light began to emanate from Lu Yuan's body, and they revolved around his body. More and more golden specks of light appeared, and soon, the entire room was filled with golden specks of light. The special factor in the bloodline was completely released. Finally, when it reached a certain point, the golden light spots stopped increasing. Lu Yuan's mind moved, and the golden light spots in the room began to condense. After about half an hour, the golden light spots had completely condensed into a huge golden halo that surrounded Lu Yuan. White, yellow, purple, black, and red. In the blink of an eye, the golden halo rapidly changed into 5 different colors and directly entered the domain of the 100,000-year soul ring. However, this was only the beginning. As time passed, the light red color began to deepen, and soon it became a demonic blood-red color. 2 golden rays cut through the blood-red color, and 2 strange golden patterns appeared on the demonic blood-red ring, exuding a noble aura. Double golden patterned blood rings. This meant that the soul ring had reached over 200,000 years, and it had stepped into the realm of vicious beast soul rings. Even so, the changes were still ongoing. Another 2 hours passed, and the blood-red soul ring around Lu Yuan's body was now surrounded by 9 noble golden patterns. This meant that the soul ring had reached 900,000 years of age. 900,000 years was a terrifying number, and it was definitely the oldest soul ring that a human soul master had on the Douluo continent. At this point, the transformation of the blood-red ring gradually stopped. Before ascending to godhood and possessing his own divine power, Lu Yuan could only form an origin bloodline ring of 990,000 years at most. 1,000,000 years was already enough to touch upon the realm of divinity, but he still couldn't form such a soul ring right now. Therefore, at this point, it was time to borrow external help. Gu Yuna had been paying attention to the changes in Lu Yuan's body. When she noticed this, she moved her hand slightly, and the second-generation Golden Dragon's god's core turned into a beam of light and rushed into the huge 9-patterned blood ring that Lu Yuan had formed. Immediately, terrifying divine power erupted, and the blood-red ring turned into a dazzling golden color. This time, the golden halo wasn't like the original golden halo, which was only golden in color. Instead, it was filled with an indescribable sense of nobility. 1,000,000 years. This soul ring had reached 1,000,000 years of age. Divine power continued to erupt from the golden soul ring as it continued to imprint itself with divine power. Gradually, the 1,000,000-year soul ring began to undergo a bizarre transformation. Finally, at a certain moment, a divine aura emerged from the golden halo. The transformation was complete. Now, let's get to the main point. Gu Yuna's expression stiffened slightly, and silver divine power flowed from her into Lu Yuan's body to protect his body. In Lu Yuan's sea of consciousness, the clear-air divine seed and Neptune's heart both shone brightly, and they released their divine power to protect Lu Yuan. The golden soul ring gradually shrank, transforming into an extremely dazzling golden soul ring that rushed directly into the 7th soul ring of Lu Yuan's 5-clawed golden dragon king martial soul. Immediately, boundless energy flowed from the soul ring into Lu Yuan's body. The true absorption of the soul ring had begun. Boundless divine power flowed from the top of Lu Yuan's head, and it spread throughout Lu Yuan's body. The golden dragon armor, atlas palm bone, and dusk gold terror claws all appeared on their own. Gu Yuna's spiritual power controlled the soul ring, and a portion of the soul ring's energy flowed into the 3 external soul bones. At the same time, Gu Yuna controlled another portion of the soul ring's energy to flow into Lu Yuan's first 6 soul rings. The rest of the soul ring's energy flowed into Lu Yuan's body, and Lu Yuan quickly absorbed it. The soul ring's energy was incomparably dense, and the external soul bones, soul rings, and Lu Yuan's body all benefited greatly. The 3 external soul bones began to evolve rapidly, especially the golden dragon armor. Because it came from the gold-scale imperial dragon turtle, which had the bloodline of the golden dragon, it benefited the most and evolved the most thoroughly. The golden dragon armor, which was originally comparable to a 100,000-year soul bone, rose in quality rapidly, and it was on its way to becoming a god. Lu Yuan's soul rings also benefited greatly. His 6 soul rings absorbed the soul ring's energy at the same time, and their age began to increase rapidly. The black of the 10,000-year soul ring became deeper, and a faint red color gradually appeared. The color of the 100,000-year soul ring became deeper, and its blood-red color became even more demonic. Of course, Lu Yuan's soul ring underwent the greatest transformation. Chapter 850. If the external soul bone and soul ring took away 40% of the divine ring's energy, then there was still at least 60% of the energy left in Lu Yuan's body. Flesh, meridians, bones, soul power, Lu Yuan's entire body was absorbing the divine ring's energy crazily. The 2nd-generation Golden Dragon was originally a Class 1 god. Even if a small portion of its origin divine power dissipated and 40% was taken away, the remaining divine ring's energy was comparable to a Class 2 god's entire body's divine power. This was definitely not something an ordinary million-year soul beast could compare to. Under the influence of this energy, Lu Yuan's meridians and bones were gradually dyed with a golden color. Gold was the color of a god-tier being. If Lu Yuan's bones and tendons were to turn completely gold, it would mean that his body had truly entered the god tier. Could this energy push Lu Yuan's body to the god realm? Without a doubt it could. Gods were divided into different levels. The same went for divine bodies. Class 3 divine bodies, Class 2 divine bodies, Class 1 divine bodies, God King body. The different levels of gods naturally had differences in the strength of their physique. With the amount of divine energy in his divine ring that was comparable to a grade 2 deity's divine body, even if there was some other consumption, in addition to Lu Yuan's special constitution, it would not be a problem for him to forge a grade 3 divine body. However, the problem was that Lu Yuan's absorption ability was limited. He could not absorb all the energy in the divine ring, so forging a divine body was still a little difficult. However, it was still possible for him to take another step forward from the demigod body. Furthermore, due to the special nature of Lu Yuan's bloodline, if he took another step forward, even if he did not become a divine body, the strength of his physique would be comparable to a Class 3 divine body. It might even be a little stronger. It could not be helped. After all, the Golden Dragon bloodline was the best at physical strength. Furthermore, Lu Yuan's bloodline had evolved, so his physique was much stronger than the Golden Dragon's. When the Divine Ring's energy swept through Lu Yuan's body, part of it entered his sea of consciousness. Origin Divine Power was the most profound and had many uses. What was Origin Divine Power? Was it just the sole power of a god? No, Origin Divine Power was similar to a special energy that combined essence, energy, and spirit. It was also because of this that it was extremely useful for the body, soul power, and even spiritual power. It was the purest form of energy. Lu Yuan's current sea of consciousness could truly be called a sea. The area was incomparably vast, and it was very stable. The clear air god seed was high up in the sky, emitting a white light. Now that Lu Yuan had comprehended a part of the clear air god seed, the divine power it emitted became denser. In the sky, a 5-clawed golden dragon with a pair of wings on its back roared towards the sky, rolling and rolling in the clouds formed by the divine power. Compared to the original golden dragon, the current 5-clawed golden dragon king was much more willful. Other than the spirit of the god-slaying spear martial spirit that was stuck on the Black Mountain, it wasn't afraid of anyone in the sea of consciousness. It even dared to roar in front of the clear chi divine seed. It tossed and turned all over the sea of consciousness happily. The golden divine ring's energy surged into his sea of knowledge and began to transform it. The white light scattered, and the clear energy protected Lu Yuan's sea of consciousness, ensuring that it would not be damaged. Above the sea of consciousness, waves rolled, and the area of the sea of consciousness began to expand again. At the same time, Lu Yuan's spiritual power began to strengthen again. His spiritual power was originally stuck at the half-step limit realm. Now, with the help of the Divine Ring's Origin Divine Power, his spiritual power was able to advance to the next level, completely entering the limit realm. Lu Yuan's entire body was rapidly transforming. In the outside world, Gu Yuna's spiritual power swept out, paying close attention to the situation in Lu Yuan's body. If Lu Yuan couldn't bear it, she would immediately control the remaining energy and seal it. It was very difficult to do this, but for Gu Yuna, whose spiritual power was now number 1 in the world, it wasn't a problem. The sky darkened and then the sun rose again. A day's time slipped away just like that. Seeing Lu Yuan's gradually frown, Gu Yuna knew that the divine power in Lu Yuan's body had reached saturation. With a thought, Gu Yuna waved her hand and scattered a silver light. She forcefully controlled it with her spiritual power and gathered the remaining energy in Lu Yuan's body. After Lu Yuan's absorption, The original 6 layers of divine power had been consumed by 4 layers. There were still 2 layers left. Gu Yuna guided the 2 layers of origin divine power into Lu Yuan's golden dragon right arm bone, and then sealed it layer by layer. After doing all this, Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan, who was digesting the divine power and slowly transforming, and couldn't help but smile. After the condensation of the divine ring today, Lu Yuan's foundation to become a god had been completely laid. It would be much easier for him to become a god in the future. Absorb slowly, there's no need to rush. Gu Yuna softly muttered, then found a place to sit down. She rested her chin on her jade-like hand, and her purple eyes stared unblinkingly at Lu Yuan. Now that Lu Yuan's absorption of the origin divine power had reached saturation, what was left was to completely transform this divine power into his own. This process was undoubtedly very time-consuming. The red sun rose from the east and set in the west. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Ever since Lu Yuan had started cultivating, this was the longest time he had ever spent absorbing a soul ring. Of course, it was also the time he had reaped the most benefit. The undulations of divine power on Lu Yuan's body were extremely faint. This meant that the origin divine power in his body had basically been completely transformed into his own. In its place, Lu Yuan's aura was many times stronger than before. On his body, the golden dragon armor shone brightly. It was also golden, but there was an additional aura that was similar to the golden dragon spear. It was the aura of a divine weapon. Under the effect of the golden dragon's origin divine power, this external soul bone that Lu Yuan relied on the most had already entered the realm of a divine weapon. It had become a god-tier soul bone. Although it was only an ordinary divine weapon that had just entered the realm of a divine weapon, it was still a divine weapon. An ordinary 100,000-year soul bone couldn't compare to it. Although the Atlas palm bone and the dark golden terraclaw right palm bone hadn't reached the realm of a divine weapon, they were far superior to ordinary 100,000-year soul bones. 2 layers of origin divine power had raised the 3 external soul bones to a very high level. If the changes in the golden dragon armor couldn't be seen if one didn't look closely, the changes in the soul rings were very direct. Apart from his 7th soul ring, Lu Yuan's original soul rings were black, 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 and red. Now, Lu Yuan's soul rings were red, 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 and red. Furthermore, every single one of them was blood red, and there were 5 golden patterns on them. The 2 layers of the golden dragon's origin divine power didn't raise any of his soul rings to 1,000,000 years. However, it raised the age of all 6 soul rings to 500,000 years. What a huge increase! The deterrence brought by these 6 soul rings was immense. Putting everything else aside, just releasing these soul rings was enough to shock everyone. Chapter 851. The transformation of his external soul bone had been completed, and the increase in the age of his soul rings had also come to an end. All that was left was Lu Yuan himself. The transformation of his soul rings and external soul bone had consumed 4 layers of his origin divine power. 2 layers of origin divine power were sealed in his golden dragon right arm bone, so there were 4 layers of origin divine power left in Lu Yuan's body. This energy caused Lu Yuan to undergo a huge transformation. The undulations of his divine power gradually weakened until they completely disappeared. Lu Yuan's aura became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, Lu Yuan opened his eyes. A strong wave of energy swept out, and everything in the room was instantly destroyed. Lu Yuan roared into the sky. His 7th soul ring shone, and a 100-meter-long divine dragon burst through the roof. In the blink of an eye, it was already in midair. Seeing this, Gu Yuna's figure flashed, and she was outside the room. She lifted her head slightly and looked into the sky. In midair, a 5-clawed golden dragon with a pair of wings on its back was spiraling. It exuded a bright golden light. Its slender body shone with golden light, as if it were forged from gold. Its wings flapped slightly, and a strong gust of wind was whipped up in midair. The divine dragon rose again, and directly entered the clouds. Its body was revealed in the clouds. The five-clawed golden dragon opened its mouth slightly and let out a loud dragon's roar. Suddenly, the dragon's roar, which contained a strong dragon's might, reverberated throughout the entire martial soul palace. In the angel temple, Sendoryu and the other consecrated were discussing some matters. They were shaken by this dragon's roar, and their expressions changed. Even Sendoryu's eyes were filled with a strange look. "Elder brother, what's this?" After hearing this dragon's roar, the golden crocodile was shocked. He only felt his martial soul tremble, and he couldn't help but ask. "It's that little rascal. He's become a soul sage." Sendoryu gently stroked his beard and said, "Are you talking about Obuchi?" the golden crocodile asked. "Other than him, who else has such a terrifying dragon might?" Listening to this voice, "He has improved quite a bit this time," Sendoryu said. "The Holy Sun has become a soul sage?" Listening to Sendoryu's words, many consecrated elders couldn't help but be surprised. If they remembered correctly, Lu Yuan was only 16 years old this year, a few months away from 17 years old. A 16-year-old soul sage, tsk. Comparisons were odious. What were their levels when they were 16 years old? Had he arrived at the soul divine sect? That seemed to be the case. The difference between a soul ancestor and a soul sage was simply too great. "Are you guys going to stay here or come with me to take a look? I have a premonition that this kid is really going to ascend to the heavens this time." "Second brother, you might not be able to beat this kid," Sendoryu said. Hee, I've been prepared for this for a long time. This kid will surpass me sooner or later. The stronger he is, the better. He is the holy son of our martial soul palace, the next pope." Golden Crocodile chuckled. "Indeed, the stronger this kid is, the better. Do you guys want to go take a look?" Sendoryu asked again. "Of course, the Holy Sun has made such a huge breakthrough. We would also like to see his heroic figure," the consecrated elders said. "Then let's go. We'll be back soon," Sendoryu said indifferently. With such a huge commotion, even Sendoryu was alarmed, let alone Bibidon and the others. They all came to Lu Yuan's seclusion place, and stood not far away from Guyuna. "Such a strong aura. This kid is almost catching up to me. If he doesn't use his full strength, I might not be able to beat him. The kid from back then has finally grown to such a level. He always said that he would protect me. Now, he has the ability to do so." Bibidon sighed inwardly as she looked at the divine dragon dancing in the clouds. She wore a smile on her face, and her eyes were filled with gentleness. Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were also filled with radiance, and their faces were filled with pride. This was their man. Master has finally reached this stage. With Master's current strength and the suppression of his bloodline, I can't beat him anymore. Long Xiaoyao's figure appeared, and he couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the roaring five-clawed golden dragon king. Although he was at his limit, Lu Yuan's bloodline suppressed him too much. He couldn't unleash his original strength in front of Lu Yuan. In addition to Lu Yuan's rapid improvement, he couldn't beat Lu Yuan in a one-on-one fight. "Little brother's aura has far surpassed mine." Ma Xiaotao blinked her red eyes, and there was a complicated look in her eyes. Ever since she was summoned, she had been following Lu Yuan and protecting him. However, Lu Yuan didn't need her protection now. She couldn't help but feel a little conflicted. "I can't compare to Master's might. Master's path to invincibility is about to begin," Jing Hongqian said softly. Long Xiaoyao and Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but nod their heads when they heard his words. Lu Yuan had already soared to new heights. The five-clawed golden dragon king circled in the clouds and roared. Waves of draconic aura filled the sky. Suddenly, the majestic divine dragon plunged down from the clouds and dived downwards. The divine dragon was extremely quick, and it reached the ground in no time. The 100-meter-long dragon body appeared to be so huge. The dragon's tail swept slightly, bringing with it an extremely terrifying power. A gentle look flashed across the divine dragon's eyes as it looked at the few familiar figures on the ground. It increased its speed once again. Just as it was about to reach the ground, golden light flashed, and the golden divine dragon dissipated. It was replaced by Lu Yuan's familiar figure in white. He landed gently, and Gu Yuna was right in front of him. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lu Yuan opened his arms and pulled Gu Yuna into his arms. It wasn't that he liked to show off his affection in front of others. It was just that he was too excited and couldn't control himself. Only he knew how much he had gained this time. First, he was a rank 70 soul emperor. With a divine ring and the god-ranked golden dragon right arm bone, his soul power had increased by 7 ranks. He was now a rank 77 soul sage. Next, he had his constitution. If he was a demigod before, he was now a pseudo-god. A pseudo-god was only a step away from becoming a true god. Once he advanced half a step further, he would become a rank 3 god. Lu Yuan was a pseudo-god now, and he was as strong as a rank 3 god. Next was his spiritual power. His spiritual power had also improved a lot, and he was now at the ultimate level. With his spiritual power at the ultimate level and his netherworld light, few people in the world could resist his spiritual attack. There were also soul rings and external soul bones. This time, Lu Yuan's gains were unimaginable. All of this had to do with the woman in his embrace. Without her, Lu Yuan wouldn't have gained all of this. Therefore, Lu Yuan hugged her emotionally. Chapter 852. Thank you for your hard work, Nar, Lu Yuan said in a gentle voice as he gently rubbed his right cheek against Gu Yuna's cheek. It's nothing, as long as you're doing well. Gu Yuna's red lips parted slightly, and her pleasant voice sounded. Lu Yuan smiled slightly, and gently moved his head to kiss Gu Yuna's cherry lip. They were soft to the touch, and there was a faint fragrance to them. Lu Yuan was immediately intoxicated. This guy really started doing bad things as soon as he came out of seclusion. Hulaina pouted her small mouth and muttered, "Stinky Obuchi, he likes the new and hates the old. He's so bad. He only knows how to get close to Gu Yuna. He can even kiss me." Hulina grumbled in her heart. It seems like he can't control himself this time. Gu Yuna must have helped him a lot with her 7th soul ring. Otherwise, he wouldn't only be so close to Gu Yuna with the 3 of us standing here. Bibidon blinked her pink eyes as she spoke softly. After all, she was much more experienced than Hulina and the others, so she had a deeper understanding of this aspect. Obuchi's martial soul true body was so terrifying just now. My martial soul was trembling. My martial soul wasn't as strong as his in the past, but I didn't feel this way. However, the gap between us seems to be so huge that it's terrifying. Zhu Zhuqing spoke lightly, and her clear and cold voice carried a trace of trembling. Lu Yuan's piercingly cold divine might from before had left a deep impression on her. Indeed, my martial soul was trembling as well. Hulina couldn't help but agree after hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words. Just now, her 9-tailed heavenly fox martial soul had also been completely suppressed, and she had felt like crawling on the ground. This little bastard's martial spirit has already reached an unimaginable level. I was also suppressed by it just now. It seems like as long as it's a beast martial spirit, it will be completely suppressed by him. Bibidon said in an indifferent voice. The evolved 5-clawed Golden Dragon King was definitely the strongest beast soul in the history of the Douluo continent. Any beast soul possessor could only tremble in fear when they encountered him. If it wasn't for the fact that they were much stronger than him, it would be very difficult for them to even retaliate under his oppressive might. Someone's coming. Bibidon had just finished speaking when suddenly, a wave of fluctuation caught her attention. She glanced over and saw a group of people landing on the island in the middle of the lake, not far away. Sendoryu? What is this old man doing here? Could it be because of Obuchi? Recalling Lu Yuan's five-clawed golden dragon king roar into the sky, Bibi Dong had a rough idea of what was going on and felt that he was close to the mark. Why is the head consecrator here? Bibidan's actions also attracted the attention of Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing. The two of them tilted their heads and just happened to see Sendoryu's group. Sendoryu stepped onto the island in the middle of the lake. This was Bibidan's residence. He rarely came here, but today he couldn't hold back his curiosity and set foot here. Behind him were the golden crocodile, Qianjun demon subduing, and the other consecrators. Where is Obuchi? Sendoryu muttered. His gaze swept over a large circle and finally found Lu Yuan's figure. His face immediately darkened. What did he just see? This stinking brat actually kissed another girl so openly in front of so many people. He was simply out of control. Although he also agreed that Lu Yuan had several wives, as Chihiro Snow's grandfather, it would be strange if he was happy to see such a scene. However, his thoughts clearly didn't affect Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan was kissing very happily. Kissing Gu Yuna felt wonderful. Releasing Gu Yuna's cherry lips, Lu Yuan and her looked at each other closely. Both of their eyes were filled with deep affection. Xiao Yuan, you already have a false god body and a divine ring. As long as you can absorb the divine origin energy sealed in the right arm bone of the golden dragon, you'll be able to completely transform into a divine body, Jian Wushuang said to Xiao Yuan. Gazing at Lu Yuan, Gu Yuna softly said, I know. However, I have just completed my transformation and still need some time to adapt to this huge change. I need to completely digest and control this sudden increase in strength before I can think about other things. Otherwise, blindly being greedy is not good. Lu Yuan said. He placed the most importance on his foundation. This increase in soul power by 7 ranks was actually the result of him suppressing it. Otherwise, with such powerful energy, it was very likely that he could have reached rank 79. That might seem very impressive, but in the long run, the disadvantages outweighed the advantages. A skyscraper was built from the ground, and the most important thing was the foundation. Thus, every step had to be taken as steadily as possible. Indeed, you have made great progress this time. You need to take some time to consolidate it. Gu Yuna nodded in agreement with Lu Yuan's words. With her foresight, she naturally understood the importance of a foundation. This time, I have completely inherited the second golden dragon's everything, right? After a moment of silence, Lu Yuan softly said. In the beginning, he had inherited the bloodline of the second-generation golden dragon. But now, he had completely absorbed the second-generation golden dragon's divine core and soul bone. He had completely taken over the second-generation golden dragon's entire body. Gu Yuna was slightly taken aback. Then, she nodded slightly. Yes. Since I have inherited everything from it, I will bear the responsibility that it has passed on to me. Leave the future of soul beasts to me. Lu Yuan spoke softly. At this moment, Lu Yuan really wanted to do something for soul beasts and the dragon clan from the bottom of his heart. It wasn't like before, when he did it to repay his debt and for Gu Yuna and Wang Qiu. Although he wouldn't kill soul beasts indiscriminately, he didn't really treat them as one of his own. However, this time, he was sincere. I'll leave it to you then. Gu Yuna seemed to have sensed the change in Lu Yuan's mentality. At this moment, she was exceptionally happy. She knew that Lu Yuan's last bit of barrier towards soul beasts had disappeared. From now on, he could truly treat both soul beasts and humans with the same benevolence. This was undoubtedly something that Gu Yuna was very happy about. She also sincerely hoped that Lu Yuan would truly acknowledge soul beasts. Lu Yuan smiled when he saw Gu Yuna's smile. He lowered his head slightly and touched Gu Yuna's forehead. Nah, don't resist. I'll pass something to you. Lu Yuan's voice sounded. Okay. Gu Yuna acknowledged softly. With a thought, a spot of golden light emerged from Lu Yuan's forehead and entered Gu Yuna's mind. This spot of golden light was the cultivation method of the true dragon claw. Although the true dragon claw was only one of the moves of the true dragon treasured skill, the cultivation method was very complicated. Although Lu Yuan had comprehended it from his own bloodline, he had only just grasped the basic. This time, besides the cultivation method, he also passed some of his own understanding of cultivation to Gu Yuna. This could help Gu Yuna grasp the basics quickly. Chapter 853. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy for Gu Yuna to learn the true dragon claw, even if she had great spiritual power and good comprehension skills. True dragon claw, what a powerful offensive technique! Gu Yuna was stunned as she sensed the cultivation method of the true dragon claw that Lu Yuan had imparted to her. No matter how exaggerated it was, it couldn't compare to experiencing it for herself. After experiencing it for herself, she realized how strong this claw technique was. If she could master it, she wouldn't have a problem fighting above her level. Lu Yuan was not lying when he said that she could take on the Azura deity, who had the strongest attack. Take your time to cultivate it. When you master the true dragon claw and return to your original level, your fighting strength will be impressive. Lu Yuan said softly. Okay. Gu Yuna acknowledged softly. She looked at Lu Yuan with a gentle gaze. Lu Yuan smiled and let go of Gu Yuna's waist. He held her snow-white hair and walked towards Bibidon and the others. His spiritual power was now at the level of a limit Douluo. He had already sensed Sendoryu and the others' arrival. However, he couldn't be bothered with them because he was having a good time kissing them. As for why they were here, it probably had something to do with the roar of his five-clawed golden dragon king true body. That roar was extremely powerful, and it reverberated throughout the entire martial soul palace. However, since they were here, he had to meet them. Furthermore, he had just broken through, and was a little itchy to fight them. Sendoryu was a good opponent. He couldn't defeat Gu Yuna, and he couldn't bear to lay his hands on Bibidong. Long Xiaoyao was a dragon, and he was suppressed by him. He couldn't detect his true abilities, and only the Thousand Dao stream was suitable for him. Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna walked side by side. Anyone who saw them couldn't help but praise them. They were a match made in heaven. Grandpa, Golden Crocodile. Lu Yuan nodded at Bibidon and the others, then greeted Sendoryu and Golden Crocodile. Gu Yuna was right beside him, and she didn't have any stage fright in the face of everyone's gazes. Among Lu Yuan's women, only Bibidon could be compared with Gu Yuna. Gu Yuna was never shy in the face of other people's gazes. The only one who could make her shy was Lu Yuan, unlike Chihiro Snow and Bibidon, who rarely got close to Lu Yuan in public. Perhaps this had something to do with the fact that Gu Yuna was a soul beast. She never knew how to hide her love, and her love was very pure and sincere. Love was love. She didn't want to think about other things. Other people's opinions and views couldn't affect her at all. Lu Yuan liked this about her very much. We pay our respects to you, Your Highness. The worshippers of the Holy Hall all greeted Lu Yuan upon seeing him. Sendoryu looked at Gu Yuna, who was holding hands with Lu Yuan, and couldn't help but ask, Obuchi, who is this? Gu Yuna, my girlfriend. Cher has seen her before, Lu Yuan replied in a soft voice. Thousand Dao Lu's body stiffened when he heard this. Was this the Gu Yuna that Qian Rinxue had mentioned before, who was more powerful than an ultimate Douluo? Sendoryu appraised Gu Yuna. Gu Yuna's purple eyes lit up slightly, and Sendoryu's entire body shuddered as his pupils contracted slightly. Just then, he had sensed an extremely powerful burst of pressure, and this pressure had come from Gu Yuna. As expected, she was an extremely powerful being. She was so powerful that killing him would be as easy as blowing off dust. I don't know how Lu Yuan managed to woo such a powerful being. It's really a good method. Sendorius sighed in his heart. Sendoria's gaze turned to Lu Yuan, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Even though he had felt that Lu Yuan had improved a lot in the Angel Temple, he only realized that he had still underestimated Lu Yuan after seeing him in person today. He could even faintly feel a sense of threat from Lu Yuan's aura. This undoubtedly shocked him. Even the golden alligator Douluo did not give him such a feeling. This kid in front of him was definitely far stronger than the golden alligator. Obuchi, what rank are you now? As Lu Yuan's physique had transformed into a quasi-god physique, even Sendoryu couldn't sense his true strength without revealing his soul power. Rank 77 Soul Sage. Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Rank 77 as soon as you broke through? Sendoryu's expression changed slightly, and the golden crocodile and the others couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This was the first time they had heard of such a huge increase in soul power. Rank 77? Obuchi's 7th soul ring is definitely very old. Bibidan was astonished to hear this, and she couldn't help but exclaim softly. Earlier, Lu Yuan had directly used his 5-clawed golden dragon king true body, so Bibidan hadn't seen Lu Yuan's soul ring. But from the fact that Lu Yuan had risen 7 ranks, she could speculate that Lu Yuan's 7th soul ring was at least 500,000 years old. However, Bibidan was wrong. Lu Yuan's 7th soul ring was even more exaggerated than she had imagined. It was a true divine ring, as expected of the successor of the divine king. Truly extraordinary. Obuchi, are you interested in playing with Grandpa? Sendoria looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of interest in his eyes. He really wanted to know how strong Lu Yuan was now. Lu Yuan opened his mouth, and just as he was about to reply, the golden crocodile's voice rang out. Big brother, let me do it. I haven't seen Obuchi's strength for many years. Let me see how much he has grown over the years. Do you have any objections, Obuchi? Of course not. It won't be too late to play with Grandpa Golden Crocodile first, Lu Yuan said softly with a smile. You little brat. Golden Crocodile couldn't help but smile. Lu Yuan's words meant that it wouldn't take much effort to defeat him. This little brat's tone was getting more and more arrogant. But with his progress, although his tone was arrogant, it was understandable. After all, he was young and frivolous. He was also young once, and he knew that geniuses had their own pride. It didn't matter if they were arrogant, as long as they were strong enough. Therefore, he wasn't angry at Lu Yuan's words. Instead, he secretly hoped that Lu Yuan could really defeat him. He really hoped that Lu Yuan could become stronger, whether it was out of consideration for the martial soul palace or out of his own feelings. Grandpa Golden Crocodile, let's start. To be honest, I'm really curious about my current strength. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Sure, let's fight on the lake, so that we don't ruin this place. Golden Crocodile said. Of course. Lu Yuan said softly. Even if Golden Crocodile didn't say it, he would still do it. The island in the middle of the lake was where he, Bibidan, and the other girls lived. He didn't want to destroy this place. Follow me then. As he spoke, the golden alligator Douluo's figure flashed as he flew towards the surface of the lake. Seeing this, a golden light flashed under Lu Yuan's feet, and he quickly followed. Chapter 854. The two of them were extremely quick, and they reached the surface of the lake in no time. The two of them were more than 10 meters apart as they stepped on the surface of the lake. For the two of them, walking on water was nothing out of the ordinary. Lu Yuan and Hui Yuhao faced each other in the air, while Bibidan and the rest moved to the lakeside to watch the battle. The Golden Crocodile had been famous for a long time. When he was young, he had shocked the entire continent. Now, he was a rank 98 Douluo, and his abilities were absolutely terrifying. Even Bibidon, who couldn't use his full strength, didn't dare to say that he could defeat him. While Lu Yuan was young, he was a monster that exceeded the imagination of ordinary people. No one dared to underestimate him because of his aura. Therefore, Sendoryu and Bibidon were more optimistic about Lu Yuan. Rank 98 isn't bad, but he's no match for Obuchi. With the foundation of his divine ring and his false god body, the current Obuchi is invincible under limit Douluo, Gu Yuhao said softly. She had the highest cultivation level, and her eyesight was the strongest. This battle hadn't even begun, but she could already see the outcome. Obuchi, don't hold back. You don't have to purposely give Grandpa Golden Crocodile face. Let Grandpa Golden Crocodile see your true abilities. Above the lake, the Golden Crocodile looked at Lu Yuan and said softly, "All right." After a moment of silence, Lu Yuan said plainly. He had originally planned to hold back a little. After all, the Golden Crocodile was his elder, and he had taught him since he was young. Naturally, he didn't want him to lose so badly. However, since the Golden Crocodile had said this, he didn't have to purposely hold back anymore. Otherwise, he would make the Golden Crocodile angry. "Then let's begin," the Golden Crocodile shouted loudly. Vigorous soul power surged from his body, and his martial soul was instantly attached to his body. It was a huge golden crocodile. Its two front legs were thick and short, but it was extremely majestic. Its long golden tail swayed gently, full of power. Especially that bloody mouth, it was full of deterrence. The Golden Crocodile King was a top-tier martial spirit. With his martial soul attached to his body, the Golden Crocodile's palms turned into crocodile paws, and a layer of golden crocodile skin covered his body. Under the Golden Crocodile's body, 9 yellow, purple, black, and red soul rings rose up. As the second consecrator of the martial soul palace, he also had a 100,000-year soul ring. In the world of Fighting One, anyone who possessed a 100,000-year soul ring was a true powerhouse, and the Golden Crocodile was undoubtedly one of them. Seems like second brother is serious, but I'm afraid he's still going to lose. This brat isn't simple. Looking at the Golden Crocodile's appearance, Sendoryu couldn't help but sigh softly. Just as he finished speaking, a huge change occurred on the surface of the lake again. Feeling the aura from the Golden Crocodile's body, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. With a thought, his 5-clawed Golden Dragon King martial soul was attached to his body. A dragon's roar resounded, and a boundless and terrifying dragon's aura permeated the air. The Golden Crocodile, who was facing Lu Yuan, was immediately affected. His body trembled, and the golden light from the Golden Crocodile King dimmed significantly. His martial soul was being suppressed, and it was being suppressed very miserably. Dragon wings flapped slightly, and the soul rings below Lu Yuan's body began to rise slowly. Red, and gold, 7 soul rings appeared on the spot. Suddenly, a strong aura with Lu Yuan as the center quickly spread in all directions. What's this soul ring combination? Seeing Lu Yuan's soul rings, Bibidon was shocked. Shouldn't Obuchi's soul rings be black, red, and red? Why are they red, and gold? Is it all because of her? Bibidon couldn't help but look at Guyuna. Sendoryu and the others didn't know as much as Bibidon. Seeing Lu Yuan's soul rings, even these lofty-titled Douluo couldn't help but open their mouths in shock. What's the class of that golden soul ring? Why does it have a soul ring of that color? Hulina was also shocked. However, she had blind faith in Lu Yuan, and believed that he was omnipotent, so she was the first to react. 100,000-year soul ring is red. A savage beast's soul ring is red with golden patterns. A golden soul ring is the color of a 1,000,000-year soul beast's soul ring. Guyuna said indifferently. Doesn't that mean Obuchi's 7th soul ring is at least a 1,000,000-year soul ring? Hulina said involuntarily. Of course. Guyuna nodded lightly. A divine ring was naturally above a million-year soul ring. As soon as these words came out, the people who had not completely recovered from the shock fell into shock once again. A million-year seventh soul ring, he's going to ascend to the heavens. Second brother will definitely lose within 10 moves. Sandorius said indifferently as his eyes narrowed. Lu Yuan's aura had reached the peak of his strength, and the golden crocodile's martial soul was suppressed. With the two combined, the golden crocodile wouldn't be able to last more than 10 moves. Hearing Sandoria's words, the consecrators in the consecration hall couldn't help but secretly click their tongues. They naturally didn't doubt Sandoria's words. It was precisely because of this that they were even more amazed. How could there be a monster like Lu Yuan in this world that transcended common sense? Compared to him, these people were really living like dogs. "Grandpa Golden Crocodile, be careful," Lu Yuan said softly. His body moved, and he struck out with his palm. Suddenly, a dragon's roar reverberated, and 6 dazzling 5-clawed golden dragons spiraled directly towards the golden crocodile. It was one of his self-created bloodline soul ring skills, riding 6 dragons. The golden dragons roared, bringing with them a biting cold aura. Waves of air rolled in the air, and the lake beneath the golden crocodile fluctuated violently due to the pressure. The attack hadn't arrived yet, but the aura was already overwhelming. "Come at me!" The golden crocodile laughed, and the 5th soul ring on his body lit up. The golden crocodile claws suddenly enlarged, and directly slapped towards the 6 whistling 5-clawed golden dragons. Bang! The golden crocodile claws collided with the 5-clawed golden dragons, and there was a huge explosion of energy. The golden crocodile claws destroyed 3 of the 5-clawed golden dragons, while the remaining 3 collided with the golden crocodile's body. Suddenly, the golden crocodile's body was slapped into the water, and the water splashed dozens of meters high. One slap, just one slap, and Lu Yuan sent the golden crocodile, whose soul power was at rank 98, flying. What? Seeing this scene, the consecrated elders on the shore were stunned. What happened to the battle that they were talking about? The golden crocodile was defeated so quickly? What are you thinking about? The battle isn't over yet. That move can't hurt second brother. However, this fellow is stronger than I expected, Sandorius said softly, and his eyes flashed with a bright light. Just as Sandoriu finished speaking, the water splashed everywhere, and the golden crocodile's figure directly rushed out of the water. Chapter 855. The golden crocodile was drenched from head to toe, and water droplets were dripping down his sturdy body. He looked at Lu Yuan with a grave expression. One move. Just one move, and he was sent flying. Obuchi's strength was unfathomable. He had to use his true abilities. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to last more than a few moves. He was certain to lose. He already had a premonition, and he didn't mind losing. However, he wanted to know how strong Lu Yuan was now. The golden crocodile roared towards the sky, and his 8th soul ring lit up. His long tail was filled with barbs, and he swung it towards Lu Yuan. This tail swing caused space to explode, and it created a series of explosions. It whistled through the air as it attacked Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at the incoming golden crocodile tail. He didn't have any intention of dodging. He raised his left arm, clenched his left fist, and punched out. A burst of energy fluctuation came from his left arm, and a huge Titan giant ape phantom pounced at the incoming tail. One of the 100,000-year soul bone skills, Titan Skyshaker. Self-created, don't investigate. Boom! The huge Titan giant ape shadow pounced on the huge golden crocodile tail. They were both tyrannical strength-type attacks, so they created a huge commotion from the start. The energy exploded, and the lake was blasted into dozens of meters of water. Lu Yuan moved his feet and dodged the water. The golden crocodile Douluo was sent flying once again by that punch. He retreated more than 100 meters on the lake's surface before he stabilized himself. The Golden Crocodile King's martial soul relied on strength to win. It was a very powerful assault-type martial soul. It was a pity that he met Lu Yuan, who was the strongest of the strongest. He would only lose faster if they competed in strength. The soul bone skill of the 100,000-year Titan giant ape wasn't considered a very powerful offensive skill to the current Lu Yuan. However, it was enough to deal with the Golden Crocodile. Grandpa Golden Crocodile, use your martial soul true body. Otherwise, you won't be able to take more than a few punches from me. You might even be severely injured. That was one of my weakest soul bone skills. Lu Yuan spoke softly, and his indifferent voice spread out. He wasn't lying. The 100,000-year Titan giant ape's soul bone skill was already the weakest soul skill he possessed. After his soul rings reached 500,000 years of age, his various soul skills also became much more powerful. He didn't dare to use such a soul skill on the Golden Crocodile. After all, he was already so old, and it wouldn't be good if he was injured. The Golden Crocodile was very good to him, and he could not do such a thing. All right, Golden Crocodile King True Body. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, the Golden Crocodile wasn't angry at all. Instead, he acknowledged his words and immediately activated his seventh soul skill, Martial Soul True Body. The Martial Soul True Body was always one of a soul master's strongest soul skills. Sometimes, even a titled Douluo's ninth soul skill might not be as powerful as the Martial Soul True Body. Golden light flashed, and the Golden Crocodile's figure disappeared. What replaced it was a huge golden crocodile that was 60 to 70 meters long. Its body was thick and ferocious, and its body was covered with ferocious barbs. Its sharp teeth flashed with cold light, and this golden crocodile exuded an extremely powerful aura. That's more like it. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. His second soul ring shone with blood-red light as he activated his golden dragon war body. He was immune to control, and this was a godly skill that strengthened his defense. After his soul rings increased in age, their effects became even more frightening. Lu Yuan only needed to use his second defensive soul skill to fight the golden crocodile. He didn't even need to use his offensive soul skills, because he had too many offensive soul skills. As he looked at the huge golden crocodile, Lu Yuan raised his fist and charged forward. There was a kind of battle that was called fist to flesh. This was the romance of strength, and Lu Yuan loved this kind of battle the most. The two of them used the lake as their battlefield. The lake water splashed everywhere, and a thin layer of mist rose from the lake's surface. Sky-propping pinnacle. Lu Yuan's left palm shone with black light as he activated his sky-propping palm bone. His fist, which shone with black light, struck the body of the golden crocodile that was 60 to 70 meters long. Compared to the size of this crocodile, Lu Yuan was like a slightly bigger ant. However, Lu Yuan, who was only the size of an ant, unleashed boundless strength after his fist landed, and the huge golden crocodile was sent flying into the water. This time, the lake's surface was completely blown up, and the center of the lake was forcefully broken open, revealing a huge hole. The lake water flowed in, and the remaining force caused the ground by the shore to tremble. Second brother has been defeated in 9 moves. I was right. This kid already possesses the ultimate fighting strength. Sandorius spoke softly. Only someone with the ultimate fighting strength could defeat a rank 98 peak Douluo in 9 moves. Even though Lu Yuan's martial soul had a slight advantage, he could tell that Lu Yuan had suppressed a lot of his strength. Lu Yuan's true strength had already reached the ultimate level. There was no doubt about that. Ultimate fighting strength. The consecrated couldn't help but open their mouth. The scene in front of them had really shocked them. Sandoria's words before the battle had come true. The golden crocodile had gone all out, but he was still defeated so miserably. He only lasted 9 moves, and didn't even last 10 moves. What about them? They probably couldn't even last 2 moves. The holy sun was so terrifying. Little rascal, you did well. Bibi Dong muttered to herself. Even though she had already expected this before the battle, when she saw the result, she couldn't help but feel proud of Lu Yuan from the bottom of her heart. This little man had really grown up and soared into the sky. Lu Yuan slowly retracted his left fist above the lake's surface. After the battle, his clothes were still neat and tidy, without the slightest bit of mess. He had been suppressing the golden crocodile throughout the entire battle. The golden crocodile's golden crocodile King Truebody was actually very violent. However, he was undoubtedly even more violent now. He didn't know how much strength he had now, but it was undoubtedly close to 1,000,000 pounds. A casual punch from him would have an extremely terrifying attack power. Even though the golden crocodile had activated his martial soul Truebody, it was still difficult for him to resist such an attack. The golden crocodile finally couldn't hold on any longer after the 9th move, and he was defeated. With his hands behind his back, Lu Yuan quietly looked at the lake's surface. Even though his attack was terrifying, he had actually held back a lot. Even though the golden crocodile had been defeated, his injuries weren't serious. His polychoria moved slightly. He could sense that there was a figure coming up from the depths of the lake. The lake's surface split open, and the golden crocodile's figure appeared. His robes were a little tattered, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. However, there was a faint smile on his face. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.